Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome. It's another fabulous episode of the Suzette Speaks Show. I'm your host, Suzette Speaks. I'm coming to you live tonight from beautiful Miami, Florida. I'm excited about my very special guest tonight. She's an amazing coach. She is a fitness, I would say, competitor. She is a mentor. She has so many unique aspects of her journey, and I can't wait for her to share it with all of you. Her name is Miss Roxy Beckles, and if you've never heard of her, you have to check her out. This is going to be her first time here on the channel, and she is going to discuss the topic with me, becoming a high value woman, right? And there are three components that we're going to get into tonight. It's going to be fitness, femininity, and faith. Are y'all ready? I hope you are. I'm really excited to have her. Please hit the like button as you come in. There are also subjects about her personal journey in terms of becoming a competitive bodybuilder that I'm really excited to learn about. As you guys know, I've been, don't tell it all, slowly getting back into the gym. I got a trainer not too long ago, and I have also been pushing myself, but not in any shape or form as fully committed as this woman, because her whole channel, and you can check it out in the description, is dedicated to helping others along their fitness journey. She has trained for Miss Olympia. Do you guys know what that is? And like I said, it's very interesting when I meet a woman who is striving from what I see on her videos and on her social media, like myself, to kind of evolve and become their best selves. Now, we are all works in progress. So, gentlemen, pull up a chair. This is for you too. But oftentimes we do need mentorship, coaching, and inspiration. So we hope tonight's show will do some of that for you. But before we bring her up, y'all know you got to get the likes up. Miss Roxy Beckles is in the place. And like I said, she has a very, very unique journey, fitness journey, faith journey, and her takes on femininity. I'm really interested to learn. So I'm so glad you're here. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the like button. If you're watching on YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the like, comment, and share. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me check out the chat before I bring her up so we can see what she has to say about this becoming a high value woman. All right, high value women, where are you? Are you in the chat? Let's go. Step it up, step forward. Let's hear what you have to say about this topic. Again, nobody is perfect. We are all works in progress. But what I hope to have happen tonight is just a genuine exchange about living one's authentic journey and learning to love oneself in your own body, in your own skin. Not being pressured, which is so difficult in this day and age, by outside voices and what people have to say about how you should look. I know that's very difficult for a lot of women specifically, but there's a lot of social pressure for men too. So tonight we're going to talk high value woman. Roxy Beckles is in the place. Hit the like button. Please go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you're here to support Roxy, what's up? Leave a comment. I want to know if you're watching and if you have seen her content. It's amazing. And all of her links are in the description, so you can go ahead and check her out. Also, I want to give a quick plug. Tomorrow, open mic night with Uncle Stu, the old man on the block. Uncle Stu coming through. It's going to be a wonderful Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, as you guys know. And Uncle Stu is going to be dealing with the topic, when must you consult your spouse? Oh my goodness. Or your significant other if you're not married. When do you have to check in? When do you have to run decisions by them? When must you listen to their opinion and agree? I can't wait. It's open mic night. It's a call-in. You guys can come on up. And then Saturday, we're going to have an amazing show with Gray Hill Podcast. I can't wait. His first time officially as a guest. And we're going to do some work Saturday at 12 noon. So without further ado, wait, let me say hello to my people. What's up? It's Roxy Beckles in the house. Y'all, please show her some love. I'm really excited that she made time for us tonight. She's a big deal, really, on this YouTube streets. She has an amazing following. And like I said, more importantly, an amazing journey that she's going to share with us tonight. Hit the like button. If you were with me last night on my Patreon, you guys know I have a Patreon. I'll probably look, a little bit similar to tonight. I was talking with my Patreon about different collabs and folks that they want to see me bring on. So shout out to all my Patreon members. I think we'll have time maybe tonight to go live right after I do a little after show. And we have a behind the scenes Thursday for Patreon only. So if you are a Patreon member, make sure, I think around 5:30, 5:45, I'm going to do a little behind the scenes view for an event I'm going to be moderating. So you can see the prep and how I deal with the folks who are like in the room, the production team, and all the folks who are helping make it look seamless. You guys know I MC and I host events all around town. So I'm going to take you along for a little BTS behind the scenes for all my Patreon members. So can't wait Thursday, all right? If you're not a Patreon member, go to patreon.com/Suzette Speaks. So let me see who's in the chat. I'm super excited to have her here. Please show some love. I see you, RM, in the building, says hello, Suzette Speaks and speakers. That's what my wonderful community calls themselves, the speakers. I see you, Reese from Philly, the Red Dragon in the building. Thank you so much. Hi, Sandy Villa. Hello and hello to the chat. Good evening, Quincy. All right, West Coast in the building. I believe West Coast for sure. Good evening, good people. He says, Sunrise, how are you? Good to see you. Glad you're here, Miss AKA Lady. How are you? I hope you had a wonderful day. Kenardoc says, hi vibrations to everyone. Good to have you here, brother. Kenardoc says, Roxy is a good well, I'm glad you approve, is a good choice. She's one of my favorite women I saw on YouTube speak out in favor of being feminine. Well, she's going to share her views tonight on femininity, on fitness, on faith, and becoming her journey to becoming a high value woman. Now, we're going to define some terms. It's very hard to define. Everyone has their own definitions of what it is to be high value. Hey, Miss Globe Girl, welcome. Glad to see you here tonight. Good evening to you. Come on, says Sunbreeze. Hit that like button. You guys show some love so that others can see the stream. Make sure you hit your notification bell tomorrow. Uncle Stu, old man on the block, doing some damage with our hard to answer question on open mic night, Saturday, Gray Pill podcast. I will be live July 4th. We got the schedule coming together, y'all. So please make sure you like and subscribe. The last good man in Jersey says, sneaking into the room. You can pull up. It's okay. It's a ladies' night. Okay, ladies' conversation. But I want my gentleman here too, because we are basically yin and yang, right? So I want to make sure all input is welcome. All right. Thank you. Is there background music or am I tripping? No, I put some background music on. Wanted to switch it up a little bit. Do you guys like it? Do you not like it? I was going to do my countdown, but I was like, no, I can't wait no longer. Keep my people waiting. DL Say in the building says, what's good? Suzette, what's up? To the chat, how y'all doing? I'm glad to see so many of you here active in the chat. Hey, Celine, how are you? Welcome. And feel free. Quincy says, I'm posted like a fly on the wall. Tonight would be the night to post up like a fly on the wall. I appreciate you. Yes, we got some music going. But yeah, more importantly, I have a beautiful soul with me today. So I am excited. Without further ado, Kareen says, tuning in. I see all y'all. I hear all y'all. And I'm grateful that you're here. Go ahead and hit the like button as you come in, guys. And I want to welcome you to a very, very special edition of the Suzette Speaks Show. I have the one and only Roxy Beckles with me tonight. She is, I would call her a fitness guru. I think she deserves that title. Absolutely. She has her own dynamic YouTube channel where she talks about all kinds of either current events or how to keep the muscle, y'all. Target area. Well, I don't know if you can target areas, but she does a lot of fitness talk to keep you motivated, keep you honest, how to eat, all those things. She mentors people. She does one-on-ones. She gets people ready for competitions. I don't know about you guys. I really had a dream at once upon a time that I would do a fitness competition, but then that dream slowly dwindled away. But for those of you who are interested in how to get that body right, that's the right channel to really, not only for that reason though, but one of the reasons, if you are looking for a motivation to keep you focus on your goals, hit the like button, y'all. Before she comes up, I want her to feel welcome. So make sure you hit like and share and subscribe. But yeah, her channel is amazing. I've been checking it out. She's funny, first and foremost, entertaining, and just again, like we're a kindred spirit is really what I would like to say. So I'm excited to have her here. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. But without further ado, let me bring up the lady of the hour, my very special guest tonight, the one and only Miss Roxy Beckles. Hey.
Hey guys, how are ya?
I'm so excited that you're
Welcome.
here.
Well,
You
I said welcome because I'm so
I
used
know
to being on my own channel.
you're used to hosting. You're used to
Hi.
hosting. I totally forgive you. Sometimes I say some random things and I don't think people think I'm crazy and I'm like, "No, sorry, I host things." But
Right? It's like,
how you
sorry,
doing,
that's
my
how I do
love?
it. Very good. I'm very happy to be here, and I thank you so much for such a wonderful introduction. I'm blushing.
You
So,
deserve it, my love. I am again.
thank
I'm
you.
always looking for inspiration around these YouTube streets, and not everybody gets the invite. Hey, yeah, so we gonna
You
celebrate you,
know,
and from one lady to another. I think sometimes when we make some space for one another, great things happen. So I'm grateful
absolutely.
that the sisterhood, the good sisterhood, it represents a night. I know they be cutting up about the sisterhood. We mean a positive, uplifting, and educationally a purpose. Like let's set that intention, sisterhood, just in terms of
Yeah.
exposing behind the curtain what we go through. Let's set the tone. All of us look nice and shiny up here on YouTube. I know people think I was talking to my cousin
Moisturize.
about it. I was like, people might think like the way I look at you, Roxy, I'm like, people are looking at me like that. Like, like, oh, can I look opposite?
I'm always well moisturized. It's
Yeah,
just
you know what I'm
actually it's
saying?
funny. I
You
went to the chiropractor yesterday, and the chiropractor was like, "Oh, that's exactly." She was like, "Your skin is so well moisturized. Let me use a." She's like, "I need to just get a towel just to be able to." She's smaller than me. She's just be able to like roll in and like crack your back and all that stuff. I was like,
I
"Yeah, girl,
love it.
sorry,
Girl, we
sorry."
keep it together, don't we? I'm talking about I sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, how do you do it? Like to myself, because it's so much pressure. Sometimes even I was talking to DL, shout out to DL Saint. I was like, DL, I can't just pop up on your stream, bro. There's a process. I have to get ready.
Right.
He's just like, do you want to just come up tonight? I'm like, I took my lashes
No.
off already. How am I just pop up? No,
Right.
that's not what we do.
Right.
So he
Right.
was laughing. He
Exactly.
was like, I never thought about that. That's a lot of pressure. So anyway, we're gonna talk about all that pressure. But I first want you to introduce yourself to the people. Very first time on the Suzette Speak Show, Miss
Yeah.
Roxy Beckles. Go ahead and look her up. All of her links are in the description. Follow her channel, subscribe, check out her fitness links if you're really looking for inspiration, guys, or one-on-one. She's the woman. So tell us more about you. I guess we'll,
Yeah.
start general and then get specific. Go ahead.
Okay, awesome sauce. Well, hi guys. My name is Roxy Beckles. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and I now live in sunny Los Angeles, California. And actually, the 30th of this month, which is like 2 days from now, it's been 14 years since I moved to LA. Just got up, said I'm out here. So here I am.
Cool.
I am a self development coach who specializes in working with women. And what I do, I like to say, I like to help them to rewrite their stories, to empower themselves, and to change their bodies and do it with fitness as the driving factor behind all change in their lives. And one of my biggest philosophies that I've been developing is called the 4 pillars of fitness. So I like to look at fitness as a holistic thing. It's not just about the external trappings and all of that stuff. It's not just about weight loss or fitting into your old jeans again, but it's about how we can really look at your physical fitness, your mental fitness, your emotional fitness, and your spiritual fitness, and how all of those need to actually work together to truly change you. I'm all about long term change, not just the short term things that you can get like that with fads and gimmicks and all that other. Now, myself, I am an IFBB pro. You can kind of see some of my trophies in back of me there. So, IFBB is the International Federation of Bodybuilding, which is the premier bodybuilding federation in the world. We always say there's only
Nice.
one road to the Olympia, and that is through the IFBB. And I've been honored to have had the opportunity to step on the Olympia stage in 2014. Yeah. So
Nice.
bodybuilding has been a passion of mine since I was a kid. And I'm a very blessed person in that my family has always been very supportive of all of my whimsical um, desires in life. So I started off as a dancer, professional dancer, ballet, and all that other stuff. went to Alvin Ailey, Dance Theater of Harlem, all these other big places. And then I became an actress, which brought me out to LA. And fitness has always been that undercurrent, though. So I've been in the fitness industry since 1997. It's a long time, and working professionally, actually, as a trainer. And then I started to get into bodybuilding after I decided I was done with the performing arts, and I haven't looked back ever since. And actually, I stopped competing in 2015, but I will be stepping on stage again sometime next year. So stay tuned for that. But so that's me in a nutshell. You know,
Ooh, wow.
my company
Girl,
is
I have so
Rockstar
many
Fitness.
questions.
Yeah, my company is called Rockstar Fitness. It's
Mhm.
ROXSTAR fitness.com. And it's my biggest passion is just to be able to share my knowledge. There's only two things you can do with knowledge, and that is you can either share it or die with it. So I decide that my passion and my calling, the reason why I'm here on this planet, which I've known since I was 5 years old, is to inspire others to greatness. So I use my site, I use my platform as that vehicle behind that. And I guess the last thing that I'll tie in, since we are talking about faith tonight, is my faith is a central part of my life. I am a cradle Catholic, as you can say. From the time I popped out of the womb, they threw me in the water, and that's it. I was a Catholic, and it hasn't been a smooth road for me with my faith, but over the last couple of years, it's become an even deeper part of who I am. So, and I like to incorporate some of that into the meditation work that I do with clients and all that good stuff. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love it. So we
Yeah.
got a lot to cover. So we're gonna jump right in. I see, and I want to welcome Celine. I think she's from your channel, RM
Hey,
says.
Celine, how
So
are you,
big up,
girl?
Celine. Thank you
Yeah.
for being here.
And
Um,
RM, I see RM as well. What's going
yeah,
on?
busy in the chat. Like button, please. And thanks, guys. We're here, Roxy Beckles again. I need you to check her out because she has so much to offer. And I love the fact that you believe, like myself, that we don't die with things. We don't sit with things. We
Yeah.
hopefully plant a seed and bear
Yeah.
fruit, right? So that's our real
Absolutely.
mindsets here. And I think sometimes people get afraid of that. It's good to know. Again, a like-minded sister is in the building. Welcome again. Suzette Speaks here with my special guest, Miss Roxy Beckles, talking about how she has, or is, I could say it's kind of ongoing as how I feel, becoming a high value woman. Fitness, femininity, and faith. So let's just first define our terms. You've heard this high value man talk. We're not going there. But this high value woman concept is like, right? It's our night. It's ladies' night. So a concept, I guess, akin or parallel or mirroring that would help us define what makes a woman. And I'm grateful that you, in your coaching, talk about all aspects. It's not just the physical. It definitely don't start there. So in, I guess, a broad kind of definition, could you please tell me more about what comes to mind when you think of becoming a high value woman?
Absolutely. I have a lot of opinions about this.
Ah, lovely.
Well, I think that uh how do I even begin? Wow. I think that with this conversation, you kind of have to take a step back and review where your lens is in life. If you're the type of person whose life is driven by money, by status, by, these exterior things that we use to validate ourselves in the world today, in society today, then your definition of high value, whether it's a man or woman, is going to be one thing. However, if you're someone who understands and considers that status and money do have its place in this world, of course, we cannot deny that, but there are deeper intrinsic things that make someone valuable outside of these externals, and that you understand, particularly when we're talking about women, that beauty does fade at some point. Youth and beauty are fleeting always, that it goes deeper as to what really equates to your value. Value then becomes very much intrinsic about I always say, what value you bring to the lives of others. So in my definition of what I see as a high value woman is a woman who first of all knows herself. She's a woman who understands her place in the world. And yes, I did say your place, as in we are not men. We are not equal to men. We are not beneath men as though we are subordinate, but
Okay.
there is a place where we are, in the we are under the mission of specific men. Those specific men would be your father, or the man that plays the father figure in your life, and your husband, right? So
Mhm.
understanding that that has its balance in there somewhere. And then to be a woman who is high value, to me, you have to have a moral background. You have to have you have to believe in something, right? Because all of this talk about value, submission, and all this stuff is rooted in Abrahamic religions. Actually, if you really want to break it down, it's really rooted biblically. It's rooted in the Torah. It's rooted in the Quran. So if you do not understand where these things come from, you can't even begin to understand what being a valuable, high valuable man or woman is. So to me, it's a woman who understands herself, understands her role in this world, who takes care of herself and her family. She looks at how she can nurture the lives of the people around her, the mark that she can leave behind. And she also has that moral background behind her that leads everything that she does.
Roxy, I'm chewing. You're gonna caught me a move. I'm gonna snuck in a
I can
cracker.
continue, but
It's dinner time. Welcome to the Suzette Speak Show. I'm excited. I'm grabbing snacks in between my interviews here.
It's okay, girl.
Grateful that Roxy Beckles is here. Excuse me, guys. And loving the fact that her definition is not really based on material; it's more spiritual. I
Well, I
think
mean,
that.
you can lose the material,
Hmm.
and then what? You can lose all of that. All of these things that are of this world in so many ways, they don't matter. At the end of the day, you can't take any of it with you. And if you were to strip everything, all of that away, what would that leave you as a human being? And if you can't answer that, you don't understand your value, period.
Absolutely. Non sequitur Alaska man, but I'm eating keto snacks, coconut
Oh, that's
clusters, organic. Yeah, I had to have. So I was so hungry and I wasn't ready for dinner. But now, as soon as I sat down, I'm like, damn, I should have eaten something. But I grabbed these real quick, in case you were wondering. But so grateful that we're setting the foundation as to what really is high value. And again, what we see on the internet, what we often see on social media, it ties it to external looks, body type, possessions, and I think body type might go with desirability of a man if we're talking about heteronormative so-called value. And I just think we're being misled and skewed by those fleeting parameters. I would agree with you, and that a lot of people are caught up and don't even realize what they're placing their value in is ephemeral, is short lived. Um,
Right. Well,
I
I do
really
want to interject with something, because
go
it's
ahead.
not to say that the physical characteristics of someone, particularly when we're talking about women, don't matter, because it does. I mean, we're
Yeah.
looking at things from a biological standpoint. And if we're going to talk about human biology in this equation, which we cannot ignore, how a
Yes.
woman looks and how she presents, her attractiveness, her fitness, her youthfulness,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
her beauty are always going to be something that will lead. But what is it beyond that? Okay,
Yeah.
so you get yourself in the door with the externals, but if you are just disgusting on the inside and no one can stand to be around you, you are not, you're low value. You'll get kicked to the curb, you know.
Yeah. I think
So
it's
I
good
think that's the other thing.
that you framing it that way. That when we are women, we don't get to ignore the physical. I hear you.
Hmm.
I hear you. And that is a part of our, I don't want to say beauty, because I'm thinking it can be misunderstood to just again that fleeting part of beauty, but our overall attractiveness is a part of our, I don't want to say secret sauce, but
No, it's
what
perfect. I
makes
love secret
us
sauce.
unique. I understand. We are
Yeah.
a thing of beauty. Is that what the best way to say it? I don't know how to
Women
say
are
it.
the fairer sex. We were made this
There's
way
okay,
on
that's the best
purpose.
way to say it.
We really were.
Yeah.
When if you want to talk about the faith part of it, if you go back to the book of Genesis, when God put Eve in the garden, Adam woke up like, well, damn, all right. You got this
Yeah.
curvaceous, soft, beautiful. She was the best part of him.
Mm.
She was the ice, and this isn't my words. This is Deacon Harold Burke Sivers is his name. He's amazing. But she was the greatest of the greatest. She was the icing, the
Mm.
cherry on the top of the icing of the ice cream of life.
You
We are
preaching?
supposed to be
Yeah.
beautiful, and beauty is such a different thing. There are people who look at me. There's a girl, crazy liberal feminist who's having a complete apoplectic meltdown about Roe versus Wade the other day. I made a comment on a video, and she told me that I look like Bill Cosby in the face. I'm like, nothing. Beauty is in the beholder's eye.
Yes.
You
Yes,
know
it
what I'm
is.
saying?
That was
But
rude.
yeah,
Oh,
who cares? I when I listen, I'm the biggest troll, so I just ripped her a new one, and then I reported her, and I think her profile got taken down. But anyway, so
you're like, I
I
got
didn't
you,
know.
sis.
I didn't know. I'm gonna cuss you out first, and then I'm gonna get you taken down. Okay. Anyway, so
Yes.
um, but what it goes to say that, like, listen, sometimes you can't help with the face that you were born with, honey. Okay, but if
Yeah.
you learn
Yeah.
how to adorn it and moisturize it and fix it up, there
Work
will
with
be
what you have.
somebody, right? There will be
Yeah.
someone that sees that beauty, but beauty also comes from the inside.
Hmm.
Sometimes you can have the most hideous looking people that just have this glow that people are just magnetized. They're drawn to, right? And
Yes.
as women, that's your job to figure that
Exactly.
out. How does it work for you, and how can you bring out those qualities within yourself? Your fitness has a lot to do with that, but also how you feel about yourself has an even greater deal with that as well.
Absolutely. I love the way you framed that. Miss Creative said, lies, Roxy. You were absolutely a gorgeous, the last good manager. So my shout out to the internet trolls.
Thank you.
uh, she says, Miss Gold Girl said, there's still some Brooklyn in there. I love it. But
Never
uh,
leaves.
I just like the honesty because people don't talk about what they really do. But I looked up my name one time, Roxy. I don't know how old that was, and I looked up where the origins of Suzette came from,
Mhm.
and I saw it has a Middle Eastern origin. And one lady told me, I think she might have been like Egyptian, Iranian. I'm sorry, that's a big difference, but she was saying it was like a lollipop in their country, that name Suzette. And then
Hmm.
Suzette, from, I don't know if it's Hebrew or American, I don't know what it is, but is a fragrant lily, is like a fragrant flower. And the
Oh wow.
interpretation was to bring a sweet fragrance wherever you go. And I've always
Oh.
kind of held that in my heart, like, not only from my namesake, but as a woman. That is my
Mhm.
job. That is my role. It is my honor to bring that sweetness wherever I am. So we're talking a little bit of femininity here first, but I wanted to back up and get into your fitness journey and how one. I know
Yeah.
you were a dancer. You mentioned you moved to LA to pursue your acting. You taught fitness classes, I see, but you end up on the Olympia stage, and that's a huge deal. So, let me take you back to growing up as a kid. Were you always like a fit kid? Were you top of the class in sports? Were you running around, always the first girl to get picked on the co-ed teams, or what was your childhood like in terms of your own fitness?
Yeah, well, I started I started off in dance when I was like 2 years old. I hated it, so my parents took me out,
Hmm.
and then I had some stint in like track and stuff like that. Like Brooklyn, back in New York, they used to have like the Colgate Games, so I would like take part in that, and they started getting into track just a little bit. But I really loved watching bodybuilding shows
Mm.
on television. They used to come on like Saturday mornings after cartoons, and I would just sit there and watch them all the time. So I loved it. And I also really started paying more attention to PBS. That's the station, the public broadcasting station out in New York, they showed dance all the time. They showed Alvin Ailey, American Ballet Theater, New York City Ballet, Dance Theater Harlem, all these things.
That
And I
darn
just
river
really,
dance. I've watched the river dance with you
oh,
on
oh,
PBS.
man, I knew I was going to be an Irish dancer with Michael Flatley. I was like,
For
yes, I'm going to do
real.
dance. But I never got to that. But anyway, but so I really started to get into dance, and I was just so enamored with it. And when I went to my mom and I was like, I want to take dance class again, she's like, no, because you weren't serious about it before. So I was like, what I did was we would go to the library, and at the time they had the card catalog. So I would go to the card catalog and I would go to the dance section and I would rent like books on ballet and VHS like videos on ballet, like technique. And I would rent them and then I would watch them and I would teach myself how to dance. So that went on for a few years. And then finally I went to an all girls private school. So by the time I was in high school, so by the time I've been in private school my whole life. So first to eighth, we didn't have a lot of sports and stuff like that. It was just about like school. That was like it. And then in high school, I really started to get into the dance thing. And what happened was, being in Brooklyn, my school was on the Upper East Side, so I would have to take the subway to my school. And there was this one year that there was a concert by the Joffrey Ballet. It said Prince it's at billboards from Tchaikovsky to Prince, and I'm a huge Prince fan. So basically, it was like this ballet that was based off of Purple Rain. So, and Tchaikovsky, of course, they done a lot of classical pieces, and this was a contemporary ballet. So I ran home and I was like, I have to dance at the Joffrey, and I begged and begged and begged and begged, and finally, I was given permission to go ahead and to enroll, and it kind of took off from there. I started there at the summer program, got enrolled into the regular school year, like that fall. By the next year, I was on full scholarship at the Dance Theater of Harlem, which is a world-renowned Black ballet company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then from there, my dance career kind of went that way. The fitness came back in for me, I guess, when I was around maybe 16 or so, is when ESPN started to really show more of the fitness competitions with the women. And these girls were like tumbling and doing all this stuff. And then they also used to show broadcasting of folks working out in the gym, like on the beach, doing like weight training and all that stuff. And I was like, that's it. I'm moving to California. I'm going to become a trainer and a competitor. And now that's what I do. I was living in California. I'm a trainer and a competitor. I just really got into fitness from there. And when I was 17, going on 18-ish, or maybe I think I just turned 18, a neighbor of mine knew my background in dance and knew I had done some running and stuff. And he was like, my gym is looking for a female trainer. Would you like to do it? I was like, heck yeah. So that's what started my foray into the fitness world. So that's kind of my background with that. I just, I've been doing it since I was young, and it just kind of stuck the rest of my life. So
I love it. So like an early passion. And I think some people know what they like and what they have a proclivity for early. Some find out late. But it sounds like you already had that kind of alignment. And that's why exposure, guys, is so important, especially for young people and us too, grown-ups too, so that we see and we understand and something clicks. Something is like, drawing us. And we're like, whoa, that's me. I find myself there. So I'm guessing you've never really had I don't know, weight issues or challenges with the scale.
Well, not in the way that most people would experience it. I mean, as a dancer, my weight issues were more or less like they were influenced more with eating disorders, unfortunately, because I was always I had to be thin. Like, it wasn't even like trying to be like, and I was already thin. Like, I was an athletic, very muscular kind of build naturally. And that doesn't necessarily work with ballet, And so, I think like every ballerina, I only ate like maybe once a week or something. I don't know.
Can I ask you?
Well, not that much, not that extreme, but like seriously, like, like there's a lot of pressure in the ballet world. And on top of that, I was modeling actually too. So I've done a lot of commercial modeling. I've done a little bit of like, I'm not tall. I wasn't doing a lot of runway, but like small offshoots I would do around Fashion Week. Done some.
That's what I was asking you. How tall you are? You look like you'd be a tall person. How tall are you?
Yeah, I mean, they would lie and say I was like 5'7", but I'm 5'6.5". So
you're a shorty like me.
Yeah.
But I appear taller too. When people see me in person, they be like, "You look 5'8".
Yeah. I mean, because I have very long limbs, and then I mean, when I'm in heels, I'm like towering like over most people, women at least. But like, so I mean, needless to say, when you're in that world where thinness is the most important thing, it affects you. You want to work, you want to get jobs, and you have to conform. So I had a very unhealthy period where I didn't have a healthy relationship with my body nor food. So even when I'm talking about people on the other end of the spectrum who have dealt with obesity, and I might have been on the other end, of it, there's a correlation. It's like, look, I know what it's like to have food literally rule your life. I know what
Yes.
it's like to be obsessed with the scale, to be
Hmm.
obsessed with your body, to have all these really unhealthy views about yourself. So although I haven't been on the obese side, I definitely know, and my even now my entire career is still based in the body and how I look as
Yeah,
a
that's
competitor.
pressure,
So
Roxy. That's pressure.
yeah,
Um,
it is. It is.
I
I'm not
feel
gonna
it
lie.
like, yeah, no, sit, get out my business, the Chester cat. I'm 5'4", but I say I look like 5'8" when I have my heels on. You're welcome. Like, not 5'7". Thank you. I'm 5'4". I am a shorty, but when the way my body is shaped, if this makes sense, my height, I don't know how to, the shape of my thighs is a shape that taller women carry. Does that
Mm.
make sense? Like that muscular thigh. Most people is a taller woman who is shaped like that. I'm just a short woman shaped like that. So I
Yeah, I
get
mean,
away
you're
with,
you're someone who has longer limbs and probably
yeah.
longer muscle bellies, so it kind of
I
makes
don't know if
you
they
look a
long. They
little.
still kind of short, but they got they, but
Well,
they
if
do.
you
They
if you
look.
had shorter muscle bellies, it would you would have a more compact frame to you. Well,
Oh,
it's a
well,
physiology
okay. I
thing.
understand what you're saying now. So yes, I don't know what to say about that, but I don't know the technical term. But yeah, my shape makes me look tall. However, so I remember in school I had a friend who had exercise bulimia, and that was the
Mm,
first time I had ever come across that, which was exercising to the point of like your feet bleeding or damaging your
mm,
body or all kinds of stuff that I had never encountered before college. And I thought, yeah, her struggle is I don't want to say it's a similar, but it has so much pain in it too, and
yeah.
difficulty to regulate in one's mind what's appropriate. So I hear
Hmm.
you on that, that
Yeah.
even though you may have not seen the high numbers like some of us, you also too know the challenge of regulating what goes in one's body, to a healthy place. I understand that.
Right, right.
I
I mean,
understand.
so many women are under the pressure. I mean, was your friend, was she black? Was she white? Like, what was her
White girl.
ethnic background?
White girl.
Okay,
Mhm.
black girl. Like, it's interesting because you don't hear this is another thing that's not talked about a lot, is the prevalence of eating disorders in the black community, because there are a number of black women who do suffer from eating disorders, and there are all kinds of eating disorders. She had compulsive exercise, there's anorexia, there's binge eating. A lot.
Mhm.
I have so many
Black
women who
women binge
come to me.
eat. Black
Binge
women
eating
binge eat.
is a big one
We don't
for.
talk about it.
Right, it's
It's
not
a
talked
big
about.
problem. Mm,
Right.
mm.
And so these things are not talked about among us, and people are often under the impression that these are white girl diseases, or that this black women don't really think about that, but they do. And especially now that you have so many, so much pressure in today's day and age to look a certain way. A lot of women are doing some very unhealthy things, and they
Mhm.
don't realize that these things can lead to eating disorders, body dysmorphia, and more. So it's an important topic to discuss.
Yeah, for real. I think that's like just black women and eating disorders is a whole topic by itself, because again, we don't really get associated with, or in the studies. We are
Right,
confident,
exactly.
or when we fill out the survey, we say, "Oh no, I never had that problem." Anecdotally, people sharing, I'm sure you as a coach, when people really talk about what ails them, not only overeating, but like I say, binge and purge,
Hmm.
huge, huge.
Yeah,
But not
absolutely.
to digress too much. Ernest, what's up? How are you? Says, what is the definition? We already defined it. Thank you. You're a little late. It's all good. But is it the same as a high value man? Is there $100,000 for 5-year requirement? We know what that refers to. I don't think so.
And that's a funny thing. Like, I'll play with that since you bring it up. We've defined it, so you can go back and watch. But like the $100,000 a year thing, and that's funny because when you deal in circles of men who actually do make a significant amount of money, none of them really care about how much a woman makes. So it's a really interesting, like, um, question to hear a man ask, like, I guess that's what people do today. It depends on how old you are, right? Like,
Mhm.
if you want to have a woman who brings a certain amount of money to the table, but then you demand that she submits to you, you so don't understand what that is
That is
all
so
about. And
exactly.
that's why I started off with the fact that most people are throwing around these terms and they have no idea what it's rooted in. And I'm
Right.
not saying that there's anything wrong with a woman making money. Of course not. We live in today's day and age where you can. But if the first thing you think about, that's what a high value woman is, my gosh.
Yeah, I think it was
Woo,
a question was
Lord.
asked, is it the same as a man? And the answer is no. The answer is a
No,
big
it's
fat
not.
no. I don't think it can
When does
be.
a man look for a woman to provide? When does a
Yeah.
man who's really truly in his masculine energy look for a woman who can provide? He
Yeah.
might say to her, "Yeah, okay, if you're making $100,000 a year, that's great, but I don't need your damn money." You know
Yes.
what I mean? Because what he knows intrinsically is that that woman who does make $100,000 a year, if he's not making more than her, that could cause a lot of problems and dynamics. So there's a lot going on there that needs to be discussed that a lot of people just don't understand. It's crazy to me. It's
Absolutely.
insane.
Yeah. I think because they hear the same similarity in the terms, it comes like, okay, should we always have the same term?
Right.
I agree here. Quincy says, I would think a man's supposed to take care of everything. They push back on that, Quincy. You be careful, you won't get shot. But
No, my
other
my
part,
dad does. My father does. So I wouldn't know
yeah,
why women wouldn't. I
exactly.
don't know how that works though. Okay, I'm not sure.
Exactly. In the DMV, says Tam, they care about the money. Wow. Okay. DMV, they do for the ladies.
Wow.
Quincy, I saw another comment. Oh, here it is. Bring a certain amount of kindness and peace to me. Otherwise, kick rocks. LOL.
Right, exactly, Quincy.
Yes.
And that's the thing. It's like I think that that's the thing that gets lost, right?
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. And it goes right back to what I talked about the first thing out the gate on this conversation. It's that when you equate value to people on intrinsic things that are of this world, meaning they
Yeah.
are things that are money driven, that are all about your exterior, that are about status, things that you can't take with you to the grave, that's when you get these convoluted conversations about who makes this and that and this, the 50-50 and the yada yada and that. It's like, dude, no, that's not it. It's deeper than that. It's not to say that those things are not important. You've got to understand that money makes the world go round. We all know that.
Absolutely.
But when you don't understand that there's deeper than all of this surface stuff, oh, you'll never figure it out. You'll never figure it out at all. And you'll just stay
Absolutely.
frustrated. And you stay on these channels that talk about this over and over again, content creators who talk about this for 10, 15, 20 years on YouTube, and they still haven't figured the damn thing out for themselves. But you're sitting back taking this poison every day, and it's going to
Yeah.
keep you stuck.
Yeah. You
So
speaking truth,
here we
sis.
are.
So I love it. So when you are now what made you decide to? I was going to ask you about how you help others, but let's first go through your quickly through your journey of getting to the Olympia stage. What
Yeah.
was that
Whew.
decision like? And talk about that preparation, getting that body. Woo.
Oh, wow. That was a trip. I mean, listen, nothing in life that's worth having is easy. Nothing. And I think that people who are successful have a certain thing about themselves, that a sort of drive that, for instance, my main motto in my life is that you have two options in this world. In everything that you do, you have two options: to succeed or succeed. Failure is never an option, ever, ever. Failure is falling down and refusing to get back up. It's not falling down. Falling down and getting up, figuring it out, dusting yourself off, crying if you need to, screaming if you need to, and then keep on going. That is what success is all about. Failure is if you just stay down and you give up, right?
Yep.
So this is how I lead all things. How you do one thing is how you do all things, right? So for me, starting off in competing, I knew nobody. Actually, I tried to start competing back decades ago, and I had actually gotten sick with walking pneumonia. And it took me 10 years before would get back on that stage again, right? Or I didn't even get to the stage. I was in the middle of prep and I was almost dying. So then 10 years later, I finally decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for real. Like, I'm going to put everything I have and go full out into it. So when I started, I didn't know anybody in the industry, but I knew how to train a body. And I
Mm.
knew that if I studied beyond what my capacity knowledge was at that point, if I really went hard into nutrition and learned that science, learned the deeper science of the body, learned about hypertrophy and building, all that, all that stuff, that I can be successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I coached myself. I was my own guinea pig in this. And that was a really important part of the step for me later on, especially as I started coaching others. So I embarked on it, went into my first show, and I was in a lineup with a bunch of nationally qualified women who had already done this before. And I came in second place to them.
Wait a
Right,
minute.
in my lineup.
Hold on. Hold on. So just okay. Because I guess you don't have the average person's knowledge. I think this does make sense. So
Well,
from
yeah, of
the
course.
dance knowledge and all the other things that you have participated in,
And
you
I was
knew.
already a personal trainer by that point, like for about
Oh,
like 15 years by that point.
oh,
So
okay. So you
yeah,
had very good working knowledge of the body and how to get
right.
it to respond and what to
Hmm.
do. So I get now that you did your own, self coaching, self preparation. Yes, RM, a small theme here is, or I smell a theme here, self starter. Yes. So you did
Yeah.
that and came second?
I
Wow.
did. And I mean, and just because someone trains, it doesn't mean that they can, get someone ready for a show. That's like a very specific skill set. And I was able to do really well. And then it got to a point where, I won overall titles on my own. I won shows and all that stuff. And then when it came to turning pro, I jumped up to the next level. This is all as an amateur. So when
Wow.
it came to turning pro, because there's a little bit of a progression. You start on the local level, you do a national qualifier. When you qualify for the national level, now you're competing against people from around the United States, the continental United States, and you're trying to get your pro card status. You're trying to get the pro card, right? So I competed on that circuit, got my butt handed to me, because it's like starting in a new pond with the best of the best from around the
Yeah. Now
country.
you're not a
And
little
this is,
fish
I'm
in a
talking
little
about,
pound.
right? These shows have thousands of competitors in them.
Yeah.
Like you can have hundreds of people just in your division alone, right? Or in your class. So when I saw I hit a ceiling, it was time for me to actually hire a coach. And
Mm.
I did. I went with world renowned coach Kim Odo, and with his Body Bio, we used to call his company used to be called Odo's Angels, and I was an Odo's Angel. So we worked together, and he helped me to earn my pro card. And with his help, we had some ups and downs. Like my first year, I turned pro into 2013. And what was beautiful is I have a very good friend of mine. Her name is Margie Martin, Margie Marvelous. That's what she goes by now. And she's actually, as of now, one of the top bodybuilders, female bodybuilders. She's really one of the big, big girls. But how we became friends is so crazy. But like, we both turned pro in 2013, and she was just really getting started, and I was just really getting started. We went to the Olympia that year, and we sat in the audience, and we turned to each other, and we said we're like, okay, we're gonna pinky swear on this. Next year, 2014, we are both going to be on that Olympia stage. And we're like, bet. All right. So crazy enough, we were both on the Olympia stage that next year in our first seasons as pros. Like this is out the gate, like rookies, like boom, right out there. And it wasn't easy that year. I started off really high, flying out the gate. I started to get a lot of name recognition in the sport because my last name is Beckles, and Albert Beckles is a very famous bodybuilder who happens to be a relative of mine that I don't know him personally, but we're related. He's like I think he's like my grandfather's like great uncle, something like that. I don't know. Anyhow,
Cousin.
um,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, he's like in that line. But and he has judged me before, actually, on stage as a pro. He has judged me before, which is
So you
crazy.
just got good genes.
Child, it's in the family, right? So I went out, first show out the gate as a pro, did really well. Did my pro debut in 2013, went to the Olympia as a spectator, made a pact that I would get there the next year. First show 2014, boom, third place against the top girls in the pro division. Okay.
Wow.
Second show out the gate as a pro, second place, moved up. I almost won that show completely. And at the time, the girl who did win was a teammate of mine. We had the same coach, but she was the top competitor in the sport in that division for the last 2 seasons or so. So it was a big deal.
Yeah. I
And
can
my coach
imagine.
and I, we got a little bit overzealous, and he really tried to push me like, I want you to get a win. I want to secure that Olympia spot, blah, blah, blah. So we did like 2 more shows after that. And my body was just fried. And I didn't come in looking great at all. I actually, by the 4th show, the pictures are absolutely terrible. I wish I could hide them, but I can't. But you
Wow.
cannot do show after show after show after show as a bodybuilder. Like, you really have to sit down, like, because it's that
Take a
taxing
break.
on the body. It's really
Yeah.
hard.
Take a break.
So I had the points to qualify, because you can qualify by winning a show completely, and that's automatic ticket. And then they have a point system, and the top like 5 in the point system get to go. So I remember it like it was yesterday. August comes around, the Olympia is in September. August comes around, and there's one more show, the Tampa Pro. And whoever won, like, it would determine if I was going to go. I was like one of one of the first people on the list to get bumped, right? And there was a technicality to this as well. So when they announced the winners and then they announced who was going to the Olympia, I was there. I was on the list, and that happened that night. And I remember sitting in the car, crying my eyes out, like, oh, I can't do it. My body's so tired. Oh my God, I can't do it. So I'm calling my friend Margie, like, Margie, I can't do it. She's like, you're going to get off your, excuse me, I'm going to cuss for a minute. She said, you're going to get off your ass. I don't care what you do. You're going to that Olympia. I don't care if I have to drag you myself. You're going to go. And I was like, okay, fine, I'm going to go. So I call my coach and tell him, look, we have to pull this together. So we did. We brought it together. Wasn't my best package on stage, but it was, it was good enough. It was good, especially for the first time out there on the Olympia stage. And I was among the top 21 women in the world, at that point. So it wasn't an easy, breezy thing. Like, along the way, there were lots of tears, lots of points as an amateur where I felt like I wanted to quit. Like, I get off the stage in the national level and tell my mom, I'm not going back out there anymore. She'd be like, get up, get your butt back on that stage. Let's go. You have to go to finals.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am. So I have a love for the sport. I took a step back because in 2015, when I tried to go out and compete again, my body was I was just so tired. It was just so much. And I was striving and pushing. I had no personal life, nothing. And I try to remain as natural as I can, and that's really important to me. And I just saw that it wasn't going to be possible, that in order for me to continue in my division, like, it was as clear as day, the direction that it was going, which is towards women who obviously would need to be super enhanced to do that. And I just, my lines in the sand were like, no, I can't cross that. So I decided to step away from the sport. Wow. And I don't know, it kind of made me miserable, actually. If I can be honest with you, I was kind of miserable. I didn't even go into it.
It's a beautiful thing. First of all, I hear a competitiveness in you. I think that's not just for the sport because of, you like it, but I think, within us, high value women, hallelujah, if we may, and those of us who are becoming, there's a competitiveness within oneself, not with the next woman, not with, what the world says we should have, but within your own vision for who you want to be, which I love. I also hear that, wow, you really push yourself. You really, really push yourself to be your best. And I think sometimes when we are, faced with obstacles and when we are not number one a couple times in a row, it's easy to give up. It's easy to give in, and it's easy to just turn your back. But I think it's good to hear that there are people who are all natural, who can, go very far in the sport, etc., and, prove to themselves, they can do it and they can stand on the stage with very, very, oh my gosh, I'm talking about highly competitive leagues of women. Go ahead.
I think that one thing I would like to point out, though, because I talk about this a lot in the work that I do when it comes to femininity. And, there is a point of, particularly I think in today's world, so many women, we are encouraged to strive and to go and to, burn both ends of the candlestick, but that's not the right message. It really isn't. And it taught me a very valuable lesson about boundaries and about standards for myself. This time when I go back out there and I'm competing again, I am not pushing myself in the way that I did because I had no life. There was no balance. It was just all or nothing. And that is a very dangerous thing, particularly for our bodies, which are really delicate when it comes to stress and all of this stuff. It's not, the lesson I always leave with a lot of women is like, look, I did this and I understand what it's like to be a kind of type A personality when it comes to certain aspects of your life. But especially women who have families, especially women who have children they have to take care of, especially women who want to, get married and have kids and stuff like that. You have to be smart about what you do. It's not all about go, 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 go. You have to understand that something has to give, and that even this stuff here for me, it's like I could take it or leave it if it means that the quality of my life has to go down and that it has to
I
become
hear
the main
you.
thing.
That's a
So
great point, and thank you for bringing balance back. Because yes, my goal is not to highlight the overly superwoman nature that many of us suffer from. Hello, but I think that's wonderful to understand that you must have balance in anything, especially for
mhm.
women when it comes to our commitment to that one thing we want, the corporate climb, the
Yeah,
body or the competition or whatever. But there are sacrifices that you're making for it, whether you realize it or not, and that is
right.
a part of understanding how, like you said, biologically, how just time works
Mhm.
and how you have to really be careful.
Right.
So I see.
And it ties
Mhm.
into the femininity thing in a deeper way. When we
Yes.
talk about, it goes back to, again, what's the high value woman, right?
Hmm.
And again, we had someone comment on, oh, does this woman, would she make $100,000 a year? Again, that type of woman is fantastic, but do you know she likely has no damn life? Okay,
Yes,
like
to do
that.
that.
If you are 6 figures and up and all that other stuff, nothing wrong with that. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
As a business owner, that's something that I have to do because I have people that depend on me. But my thing is, how can I do it to automate it, to make it so that way it's not my life? How can I do it so that way I can impact as many people as I can, but still maintain balance? For a lot of women, they don't have that luxury. You have someone making $100,000, 200,000, whatever a year. That woman is not balanced. So you have to be careful of what you wish for when you're talking about these high value women and money and this, that, the other, because again, we're listening to rhetoric that's not translating to real life. And that's a
Absolutely.
dangerous thing.
Very good points, my love. I echo those sentiments 100%. You guys are having a good time in the chat. I see Roxy has a very vibrant personality. Wow, she's very good.
Yeah.
Sugar Curl Salon, welcome. Thank you. I saw a couple questions by Sunbreeze, and I thought they were
Mhm.
very interesting. That what does a high value woman do when she wakes up in the morning? I thought that was a really good question. And
Yeah.
then I saw one other
I'll
woman.
answer that. Do you want me to answer
Yeah, and
that?
there were a couple. I was just gonna give it to you rapid.
Yeah.
Kinardag had asked, of course, as an LA native, I must ask, is she tired of LA yet, or is it still going to be home? And then I saw one, our high value woman. Thank you, Sunbreeze. Can a high value woman go crazy and be excited? I hear them calling them boring. Lot of mercy. So, so I don't know. Are the high value women boring?
I don't think I'm boring, but I could be boring to some people, and I'll touch on that.
Yeah. So
Let
boringness and what they do in the morning, and are you tired of LA? Go ahead.
Okay, I'll start with the easy one. Am I tired of LA? This is not really easy, is it? Oh my god. Okay, let's talk about what the high value woman does when she gets up in the morning. That's the easier one. I'll tell you what I do. I like to wake up, and ideally, I love to pray first thing in the morning. But sometimes I jolt up and I go to the gym first thing in the morning. So like that will happen. But I get up, I love to go to the gym, and then afterwards I'll go to there's a Monday, Tuesday, and sometimes on Wednesday, I will go to we call Catholic church services mass. I'll go to mass in the morning, uh, 3 days a week. And then after that, come back home. I'll eat some breakfast, and I always take a walk in the sun. I have to. Not
Mm.
only am I getting my vitamin D, which is really important for me as a dark skinned Black woman, but it's my time to actually pray and think and all the other stuff. And then after that, I go into my work day and stuff like that. So my day consists of getting up in the morning, working out, praying, going for a walk in the sun, and then going forth with the rest of my day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now,
It's about
do
LA.
I Okay, that's the next one I was going to do. So, because of the beautiful weather that we have here, 365 days a year, mostly, it does rain in Southern California. The song lied to you, but but for the most part, it is pretty sunny and nice here. So I do enjoy that. I love it. The parts about LA that I don't like, but I'm not necessarily going to be moving as yet. LA is a very liberal city. California is a highly liberal progressive state. And that can be a bit annoying for me as a woman here. And I'm conservative. That's just who I am, right? So I have a lot of things that annoy me about the politics here. Outside of that, I think that it's a great city. I mean, I don't get myself caught up in riffraff or the superficial facades of of the industry and stuff like that. That just isn't where it's not where I gravitate myself. So I'm not really annoyed by those kinds of people. But I enjoy it. I like it. I like it here. I do. I do.
So
But
no
I
plans
think I'm ready
to get
for
out of
the
here.
suburbs. Well, I mean, should I get married, I would definitely want to move out of Los Angeles, at least to be on the outskirts, maybe
Yeah.
Orange County or like, I don't care, anywhere but Los Angeles,
City.
the
Yeah, I get you.
city.
I get you.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
And are we boring? Ha!
No, well, here and it goes back again to what people value. And this is why for women and men too, it's important to know where you place your value. If you're the type of person again who places value extrinsically, and that's fine. If money, status, this, that, the other, if that is what makes your world go round, go after people who value that as well, right? But if you're someone who's deeper than that, yes, you are going to be very boring to someone who does not see that part of you as interesting, right? As quote unquote attractive as I am with a quote unquote greatest body that I have, not every man is going to like me. He
Right.
might see this gorgeous creature like, oh my God, you are the woman of my dreams. Oh, she goes to church and she's really serious about her actual life as a Christian. No,
Right.
thank you. It's like, no, get out of here. Get out of here, lady. So I can't help that. I can only say to myself, that's fine. I'm going to be bored. I love to garden. I have a garden outside on my patio. I love opera. I love ballet. I love things that are cultural. You know what I mean? I have my fun side too, but you're not going to find me like obsessing over like the latest trends or having designer shoes up the wazoo in my closet and
Yeah.
this and that. Not I'm not driven by that.
Yeah.
So if you like women who are like that, you're gonna think that I am just the most boring person ever.
Yeah.
But
I
to
hear you,
someone
sis.
who has the same values as me, it's like refreshing. It's like, my gosh, where have you been? Like, I've been waiting for someone like you, and vice versa when it comes to men.
Yes.
I know for myself being out here in LA and the circles that I float in with people who are celebrities and this, that, the other, like, yeah, it would be so great to like, yeah, I date that person. They're rich, they have this, they have that. But morally speaking, they're bankrupt. And I
Wow.
just could not submit myself to someone in that way who is morally bankrupt. I don't care how much. You cannot buy my soul. You know what I'm saying?
Liz,
So,
you for a conservative woman, you probably in the wrong city right now. Not saying
child,
wrong, but to
listen,
find
I
that
be out in Orange County. Okay, I be out. I got to leave. I'll be driving down that freeway, and I hate
the
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 freeway,
the
but I'll
beauty
be driving
is,
down the freeway with the
yeah,
other conservatives. Okay,
exactly. I think
you
there's a
might find
lot.
me down in Palos Verdes at the
Ah,
Trump golf course
okay.
over there or something. Okay, like,
Hanging out and meeting people because I'm like, you're in the place where it's like literally you're probably in the lion's den. But shout out to the chat. So many
well,
beautiful
there are normal people here in LA.
yes,
Like there are faith-filled people in LA. You're just not going to find them in the hottest spots because they're not there.
right, right.
That's like the
Just carrying on their
devil
lives. Oh, there are different type of
playground.
people everywhere. Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
exactly.
So
So,
let's talk a little bit about femininity and the role. I see how fitness has really shaped you and allowed you to
mhm,
become the woman you are today, and how it really has I think it has allowed you to grow, like competing, becoming, you know, your best self,
mhm,
seeing yourself rise, fall, the commitment parts of that journey. I think there are so many good lessons that it would just help you gain confidence and gain self esteem and believe in yourself from achieving and even just going through the process. So I want to talk about the contrast sometimes when we hear about bodybuilders and people who are into, competitive fitness and the perception that there are women who are overly built, overly strong, and
mhm,
are not perceived to be feminine enough.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that? We hear this trope of, and you probably don't, maybe you're always with fit people, but I hear this trope of, I don't want to lift weights. I don't want to look like a man. I don't want to lift
Yeah.
weights. I don't want to get bulky or whatever. But there's so much, I think, so many misconceptions about women, weightlifting, femininity. So talk about how you, yes, RM says I'm a snooze fest and I love it. I love it. So talk a little bit about this dance between strength, physical strength, meaning of a woman, and femininity and the bodybuilding world and how you've kind of seen it manifest.
Absolutely. I was very enamored at one point by the burgeoning swell of the femininity content that came out, like when it was really starting to get very popular in YouTube, and I guess that was going about like maybe 3 or 4 years or so. And the reason why it was something like that spoke to me because I'm just a really girly, like this is me. I'm like a really girly person. Like despite the muscles, like that's just who I am, right? So I started to hear these women talk about these things, but everything was just it just I stopped listening to it. I don't listen to femininity content anymore, or I do. There's specific people that I do listen to, and that's because that everything started to sound very stupidly stereotypical. Like there was one content creator that actually said that if you go to the gym and work out and you work out with weights, you should be lifting light weights and be dainty, because if you're like grunting and lifting heavy weights, then that makes you masculine. And I'm like, but you're overweight, so like who cares what you have to say? You know
Who
what I
says
mean?
that?
Like,
That was me this morning.
yeah,
Trying to
yeah.
trying to max out. Playing
Right. It's
myself,
like,
maxing out. Really?
there's only one facet of femininity to a lot of these folks. It's like it's always soft and demure and dainty
We're
and
not built like
elegant.
that. My body is naturally strong, bro. Like
Like
what I'm gonna do?
listen,
Mm-mm.
okay? Like I was about to go off of one tangent, but I'll stay on this one.
No, but I hear what
So,
you're saying. Like it only allows for one very narrow
yeah.
definition of femininity. Nails
But
always
that's
painted, hair always
right,
in.
but it's a facade. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
What they're teaching is that it's a mask. But you can't take my femininity away from me, because that is my natural born right as a woman. It doesn't matter if I have so much testosterone running through my body that my stature and my musculature makes me look bigger than the average woman. I was born with a V. I
mm,
have estrogen running through my body, and my place and my birthright as a woman will never be taken by anyone. Now, how a woman expresses that is a different thing,
yeah,
right? So when you understand that, if you're a woman who understands herself as a heterosexual woman
hmm,
and you're heteronormative and you're into that, dynamic, own it. Your femininity is yours. No one can take that from you. You are a woman, period. Okay. Now,
yeah,
how you display that is going to be up to you, because in our society, we do understand that gender roles are a real thing, no matter how much you want to obliterate it.
yeah,
We were bred as a species. We are here today because of gender dynamics and the differences between men and women. And
yeah,
when you understand how you can nurture that, you can train in the gym, you can be strong, you can go ahead, change your body, but the nature of who you are as a woman will never be able to be taken by anyone. Now,
my goodness.
that aside, we talk about physical characteristics, right? And yes, I can't sit here and just say what I said and then say that a woman who has excessive muscle, a woman who decides to take steroids and grows her muscles to the size of what men can naturally carry, yes, that is going to look masculine, because it does. Because the characteristics that make you look feminine are gone. They start to decrease. That's why steroids are such a dangerous thing for women. But here's the thing: 99.999% of you are not on a set of fantastic drugs. And when you train, when you work out and you're using your body in the way that you're designed as a woman, you're never going to get that type of muscle. You're never going to get that big. Instead, that hourglass shape, that sexy, like, round, full, firm look that you all want, that's what's going to start coming about when you start to train weight. So I like to really push that forward for the women that follow me. And that's why I think it's very timely right now for me to get back into bodybuilding, because now I do have a bigger more eyes on me that talk about the femininity space and all the other stuff. Yeah, I'm in it, yada yada. But now is also an opportunity to say, hey, look, you guys look at me, and do I look like a man to you? Now there's some crazy people that want to, put me down. I don't care. I'd be like, good, call me a man. Let me go ahead and tell you about yourself, okay? I don't care. It doesn't bother me, right? But to show someone what's possible when you really push the apex of what the body can do is so
Right.
powerful as a woman. It
Yeah.
really is. And you're
I think so
stronger for
too.
childbirth, and you're stronger and healthier to
And
carry
you're
life,
strong for the bounce back.
and you're stronger for the bounce back,
Hmm.
and you're
Hmm.
stronger to be present in the lives of the children that you've already born,
There. Yeah.
and you're there to be able to be confident in your body when it's time for you to be sexually involved with your husband,
Yeah.
or your
Exactly.
significant other. So there's so many things that tie into the health of your body, and being
Absolutely.
athletic. That's amazing. So
Yeah, I love it. The chat is lying. Oh, this is Fox. Quincy, you might have to come up here when we drop the link. I love women, women, and ladies, ladies. Sunbury says, I'm a woman, period. Quincy says, that feminine is something to behold. The Miss Creative adds, this is facts. Kiva, what's going on? Says, so is WWE China feminine? At some
WWE
point, a
China.
woman,
Oh,
I don't
China.
know who that is. That.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I said. Again, you still can't take the fact that she's a woman. She wasn't born with a penis, and she
Right,
has estrogen. She has XY chromosomes, right?
right.
I'm sorry, XX chromosomes. She's a woman,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Now, how she chooses to present. The interesting thing about this is that there's a dichotomy in this. Okay, and one of those dichotomies is when you meet a woman who's actually a female bodybuilder who has chosen to use exogenous steroids, right?
Mm.
Meaning that she's taken steroids to the point where, yes, she has a frame that is identified as a masculine frame, right? She has the big muscles, the hardness, and all that stuff that a woman cannot naturally have. It's so crazy when you meet some of those women, and they are when you interact with them, that femininity is still there, and it's mind-blowing. My friend Margie is just like that. Like, Margie is that's a bodybuilder, guys. Like, y'all go look at her like that's a man. But when you see her and her essence as a woman,
Still a
it's
woman.
clear as day. She's still a woman.
Yeah.
She was a married woman. She has two children that she's born. You know what I mean? She's still a woman. So yeah, the presentation of it may not be what you find sexually attractive, and she's not asking you to.
Exactly.
She has a relationship, and a man who loves every inch of that. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to like it, which is fine. But let's not mix that she's still a woman. You can't
Right.
take that from her.
Right.
And then let's not confuse for the ladies that this is achievable. Listen, aside from her using steroids, she is actually genetically predisposed to not only use them but to respond
To be
in
bigger.
a
Yeah,
in
her
an
body.
anomaly kind of way. Like, just because you take steroids doesn't mean you're going to look like that. Still, she has a genetic anomaly that only those who are pros. The pros will always be the pros, even if you took away the steroids. We have a genetic capacity to get to the top levels of conditioning and size and strength anyway. So that's the thing I need to you guys to understand. That's the extreme. Ladies, you're not going to look like that. Guys, it's okay if you don't find that sexually attractive. At the end of the day, she's still a woman. So
Amen. I love it. TTOO, welcome, says Carmelita Jeter. I love some Carmelita.
yeah, she's
This is
fantastic.
a 100-meter, I think, track athlete for the United
Yeah.
States. And when I look at my Jamaicans, when I look at Shelly Ann Fraser Price, when I look at Elaine Thompson Hurrah, Sharika Jackson, I admire them and I see their femininity, but I'm a woman. I see it and I love it and I admire it. The girliness, if you want to call it that, mixed with the strength and there's a beauty in that yin and yang. I love it. I love when
Yeah.
I see it. Team Natural, Kesha Collins, our baddies that work out. I'm Team Natural, team workout. I hear it. Kenarda
Mhm.
adds Roxy's personality kind of reminds me of Simeon Panda. She looks like she could
Really?
be. You know who that is?
Yeah, he's like a fitness influencer. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, cool. I compliment there. The Miss Creative says, I love bodybuilding, how people transform their bodies into complete muscle. You guys definitely check out her page. Thank you, RM.
Yeah, I'll
Roxy.
be bodybuilding. I mean, I'm getting back into the sport. I actually posted the announcement about that the other day, and I have a full video of me doing, I'm going into, I used to be in women's physique was and it's like bodybuilding light, or at least it
Okay.
was when I was doing it. But
Yeah.
now I'm going back to the figure division, so it's a lot more elegant and stuff like that. And I just posted a video of my starting point, so you can kind of
Mm.
see that and just how that's going to transform over the next year or so. And again, I mean, I'm doing it. I like to put the disclaimer as natural as possible, quote unquote, which means that for me personally, that my lines are still drawn at anabolic androgenic steroids. I am not doing those. Schedule C steroids, not doing. But at some point, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to have to consider fat burners. When I'm actually
Okay.
in the and a lot of it is stuff you can buy over the counter.
Mm-hmm.
Even ephedrine, you can buy that today. I'm not going to tell you how to get that, but that's the bee's knees. Okay, not going to tell you how to get it, but anyway. but
No.
but
But if you're in the industry, you
and
would know. Yeah.
yeah, and actually you can buy it at the, now let me talk about it anyway.
All
So
right.
anyway, not going to give you that secret. You got to sign up for my website. On my website,
Ah, I love it. I love it. She'll drop all the
actually,
tea.
I am doing a video where, because I have a lot of women who are interested in competing and have these questions, I'm going to do a video for my channel members next month, where I'm going to go ahead and sit and talk about this topic of steroids, what they are, because I'd rather them hear it from a woman than like some stupid male coaches just like take this, take this, and then they have effects that they didn't expect, right?
Mm.
So that's going to be dropped for my channel members. So
I love it. The good, the bad, the ugly of that part of the journey. No,
but
it's
yeah,
real because
but
people
I'm
don't
not going to take
realize it.
steroid. I want to just finish this point because I really want this
Sure.
out there. Like, I'm not going to be taking any steroids or anything like that. Maybe, like, of course, like I said, fat burners. I'm not completely opposed to oral research peptides, which are different than steroids. But once you take a research peptide, in my eyes, you are not natural. Like, you can't claim to be 100% natural. So I just
What's
want to
the
make sure
regular
that we
name
don't.
for research peptide?
Well, there's different ones, and they work on the body. The way that they work on the body is that they often will. They're mostly like secretagogues, what we call secretagogues, right? So they will either be that, or they will be what's called a mimetic. So a secretagogue would be a substance that makes your body secrete more hormones naturally than it has. Usually it's something like growth hormone, right? So
Mm.
that's usually one of the more popular secretagogues, is something that impacts growth hormone, which has an impact on your leanness and muscle building and stuff like that. And then there are also pro hormones that work on the receptors on the body that allow you to build more muscle without the androgenic effects, the masculinizing effects of steroids. Now, these things can be purchased easily. They're not necessarily banned by the USDA and all that other stuff in the way that steroids are, but they do have their side effects and risks, and that's not something that I necessarily want to take. So if I had to at any point cross the line, and if I decided to take a research peptide, then my thing, I believe in transparency and honesty, and I would talk about it. So, but at the moment, I don't think it's something that I'm going to be necessarily crossing into.
I like the fact that you're upfront about it, my sister, and we're gonna pivot to faith just momentarily. But I saw a meme. I think it was by Andre Caldwell. I don't know if you guys know him, the Mister
Oh
I'm
my
Delivered,
God.
and his Insta post was like, it should be illegal to get a BBL and then advertise fitness. And I
Oh,
thought
listen that.
absolutely, because there are so many people now you see taking these, some would argue, shortcuts, and everybody's looking at them and thinking, oh, I could do that. What am I doing wrong? I can just work harder. I can just add
Right,
time,
right,
add to my diet. And you can't, because that's not
right.
natural. But at least I salute you for saying it out loud. And if you are going to go that, I wouldn't, that route, I wouldn't judge you for it, but at least be transparent about it, because so many people don't and aren't, and they are
Yeah.
misleading a lot of people to believe that something is wrong with them. So that's good to know. That's a whole nother show. I know there's so much more
Yeah, that because I'm
about
really
that
passionate about
journey.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
absolutely.
check out her channel, guys. RM is doing a wonderful job. Sunbreeze, thank you again to my mods, dropping all of her links. They're also in the description for you guys. Yeah, I love bodybuilding. I was trying to think about like how impactful some of the workouts I used to watch when I was little. Do you remember this thing? Did you ever have this thing called Get in Shape Girl? Like a
No.
kit. there was a toy, if you will, that was like a like weights and a
Mhm.
wristband and a headband
Oh
and a couple
wow.
of it was called Get in Shape Girl. And I remember wanting one for Christmas. And my mom bought
Mhm.
me a Get in Shape Girl. And I was like, I'm a Get in Shape Girl. It was the weirdest thing. But again, I was like, because I was just thinking as you were talking, like, where did I get that imagery? Where did I get the message of get in shape? But I've always loved sports. I always like kind of, some people are kinetically gifted. I listening to you, I'm like, you're
Mhm.
a kinetic gifted person. Some people are artistically gifted. I think you have some of that as well. So just listening
Yes.
to where your gifting is wonderful when you see another woman that's just in alignment. And now you can, pay it forward by
Yeah.
coaching, mentoring, helping other people like realize who they can become
Mhm.
spiritually, mentally, and physically.
Yeah.
So I agree with so much of what you said, sis, and I want to get into your faith walk. I've dropped the link. We're going to leave a little bit of time here. If anyone wants to come up and join the conversation, if you've had your own fitness transformation, if you have questions for Roxy, if you are a high value woman or you are becoming one, what are your thoughts on that title, that moniker, and how we should be using it? It's open. Guys and gals are welcome on the panel. So I've dropped the link if you want to come up. They're curious. Andrew, what's up? Says Roxy, can you get sponsors? I'm sure she probably already has some, I would assume.
Yeah,
Wanna,
like
go ahead.
the sponsorship thing is a little weird, right? Because one thing about the bodybuilding world is that the men, like historically, they make pretty much all the money in bodybuilding, just like in sports. You know, people want to see the big boys. And nowadays, sponsorship is like someone like asking you to do something for like a shout out or supplements or or take their code and try to sell. I'm not here for that. It's like, look, if you want me to represent your product, whatever it is in whatever industry, listen. First and foremost, I was in the entertainment world. I've had agents, managers, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You need to step up here with some cash, okay? Because
Yeah.
I don't need your protein powder, okay?
We don't do
So,
free. We don't do free.
so
We don't do free.
my sponsorship is my business. I sponsor myself, and then I write it off with
Exactly.
Uncle Sam. Hi,
Exactly.
my sponsorship is Daddy Government.
I know the feeling. So no, yeah, I hear it. A lot of people want to do in kind, and I'm like, okay, nope, thank you. I see a couple other questions, and again, you guys are welcome to come up. I've dropped the link, so you're more than welcome to come up, talking fitness, faith, femininity with the one and only Miss Roxy Beckles. Thank you so much, RM, for throwing out her freebies in the chat. They're also in the video description, so if you want to check it out.
Yeah.
TTOO says fitness equals a fun, active life and sex life. Wealth and health is falling. Absolutely. I could not agree more. And I think she brought that up. And I'm like, women need to think about that because your confidence in the bedroom is often tied to how you feel you look and how strong you are, or whatever your stamina level or whatever. And a lot of times we don't think of that as a offshoot of our the benefits of the fitness journey that we can be on. But I think it's important to say it out loud. Just say it out loud. It's a part of our beauty as well. So I think it's something that we really should take a little bit more seriously. For real.
Mhm.
RM says I was in Colgate like Roxy, so I've been active.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me see. Let me see. They're talking about different shapes. Is it bad if you weigh yourself twice a day? I see that question. Thank you, Chemo. Interesting. And I would like to ask you about your own maintenance. I know you're getting ready to go in competitive mode. What is your like routine like? Are you a 6 meal a day woman? Do you exercise twice a day? He's asking about weighing. I'm thinking, I wonder if she works out twice a day. Is on my mind. So are you like more than a regular kind of person when it comes to your fitness
Yeah.
currently?
Well, let me go back to the weighing question first, because that's easier to tackle first. So, no, you shouldn't weigh yourself twice a day because the best time to weigh yourself is actually in the morning before you eat. Like right after you get up, if you want to go ahead and go to the bathroom, expel yourself, then go ahead and weigh yourself. That'll give you a lot more accurate number because throughout the day, you'll be retaining water by the end. Everything you've eaten and stress and everything else just can really screw with your numbers. So it's best to do it in the morning upon waking. Okay. Now, as far as my own maintenance, well, I'm very open with the fact that during the pandemic, like my fitness went through the toilet. Like I lost all motivation. Like I could not work out. And it took me so long to get out of the funk. Like it was horrible. So the thing that had sustained me is the fact that I have worked out my entire life. So I did not gain like copious amounts of weight or anything like that. I filled out in all the right places. And so like, yeah, that was my fitness life
You
since the
blessed,
pandemic.
girl. You blessed.
Yeah, let me tell you, it was terrible. But now that I'm getting back into the sport, I'm one of the things I'm trained to do is to evaluate bodies just by looking at a body and knowing exactly what needs to be done to be competitive on that stage. So, prior to me even hooking up with my coach, thing that I'm doing right now is looking to build up my back, my shoulders, and my arms. That's pretty much the only areas I need to work on, and just a little bit of my outer quads. So it's kind of like where my training is going to go towards for the next couple of weeks. And it's just going to be looking at, as I go along, it's like you look to see how things develop. And then I'll look at another body part like, okay, I need to fill this out. And this is how I do it. And I'll present that on my YouTube channel and all that stuff on my
So
blog.
hold up.
Yeah.
You have to fill it out. Are there places that you want to shrink?
No, not necessarily shrink, but like when I say fill it out, there's a very specific shape that works in bodybuilding. And I talk about this a lot on my channel. I have a video that I put out just the other day that talks about the hourglass shape. A lot of women want that shape. Right. But the extremes of that is seen in bodybuilding. The hourglass shape is the pinnacle. It is the baseline of everything that wins, right? And the hourglass is wide on the top, tiny in waist, and it widens out on the bottom, right? And for the everyday average woman, I mean, she doesn't want big muscles or anything like that, but you want a toned physique. And that means you have to just work out your upper body a little bit, and then a tiny waist and then shapely legs. And you still can achieve that whether you want to be on a stage or not. Right. So if we take it to the extremes of bodybuilding and what that might mean, when we look at a physique for a woman, like you want to see nice rounded shoulders, not like huge shoulders, but there's a tonality to it. And then when she hits the actual posing that she needs to do for the division, we need to see her back just a little bit wider that goes into a nice V shape. And that goes into a small, tiny waist. Competitors, their waist can be like 24 inches. Like the little ones who like short girls, they got like 21, 20-inch waists. It's like, it's insane. Like these little tiny waists, right? When I was competing, my waist was always around like 25 inches or so. And then, quads, your quadriceps, your legs have a nice round athletic look to it. So when I look at my own physique from a coaching standpoint, I see for myself, it's like I've lost a lot of the fullness in my arms because I wasn't working my shoulders in the way I used to, right? And I need, my arms are like, so like, I mean, they look good to the average person, but to get on stage, once I lose the body fat, I'm going to be just too thin looking, because people don't realize how small bodybuilders are on stage, especially the women. Like you are just tiny. But when you
I cannot imagine a 25-inch waist.
Yeah, my waist
God have mercy.
Really tiny, So like, so when I look at my physique and I know that what you see in the video, let's say if you go look at my video right now, it looks great, but there's body fat. And when I lose that fat, your muscles are not that huge. So I would just look like a little skeleton. So when I say fill that out, there are little parts of my body, like, okay, we put a little bit more muscle on the shoulders, a little bit of biceps and triceps, make sure the butt is nice and like really has some firmness to it. My butt is already firm, but I'm just saying, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And so we want to make sure that that's because when you lose weight and you're dieting, you are going to lose muscle, especially if you're natural. So you have to make sure you have a good base to start off with. So that's where we're going. Eating wise, I eat intuitively, or I have been for the last couple of years that I haven't been competing. So I'm not a big eater. I try to get breakfast in. I have sometimes I'll have a light lunch. Sometimes I won't, but I definitely eat dinner. I love eating dinner. So I
like 3 meals a day, 3 square and snacks?
Like 2 to 3. To 3. Like that's just my natural rhythm. When I'm competing, I have a meal plan and I space it out. I usually do about 5 meals a day when I have an
So like two
actual
and a half,
meal
three
plan.
hours joint like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Okay.
And my
Wow.
clients eat like that. They all are on meal plans, and for the most
Okay.
part, they have structure and stuff like that. So,
Wow. I love it. Dr. Thunder's in the building. He says two of my favorite
ah!
ladies on YouTube at Suzette Speaks at Roxy Beckles. Good to see you,
How
Doc.
are
Thank you
you?
for showing love and coming through. I've dropped the link. We have about 15 minutes or so, y'all. I didn't expect you guys. Usually my back goes quickly in terms of being full, but I guess they're listening as well, enjoying the content. Hit the like button if you will. I'm so excited. I have with me having a wonderful discussion about her life, her journey in terms of being a high value woman, right? Becoming one, and talking about her fitness journey, talking about the femininity question. And I want to get in from femininity into faith for you as a high value woman, as I deem you. I want to talk about, yeah, that's feminine right there. Worried about your butt. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. For sure. RM
Had
says,
to make sure the record stood correct on that. Like, no, this butt is
exactly. I
firm.
was like, I
Yeah,
know what you
I'll
mean
be
too,
doing the
sis. That
squats.
teardrop, that nice teardrop. No, but especially if this is your a field of competition. In all seriousness, that's a part of it. Not to be just superficial with it, but like for real, like that's a part of
Yeah,
the judging and
yeah,
making
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Um, hmm. What is Roxy's view? Sorry, Kenardoc says, what is Roxy's view on working out to failure? I'm
Mhm.
more about not doing that in every workout. So working out till you like almost about to pass out. Okay. What do you think about that?
So failure typically means to exhaust the muscle completely. So let's say you were doing a bicep curl,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that last rep is every time you do the last rep, it's like this, like you can barely do it, right? Now you do need to push yourself in that way to see change, particularly when we're talking about hypertrophy, which is the actual building of muscle tissue, right? However, it can really exhaust you. It can really exhaust your central nervous system, and it can lead to overtraining. So it's kind of can set you back if you do that all the time. So what I always say is that you want to come within controlled failure, and that's always the instruction I give for every workout program I ever create, right? And to me, what that means, controlled failure means that you come within like 1 to 2 reps of complete concentric failure. So you're not all the way there, but that last rep does feel like it's a challenge to complete it. You can complete it still with perfect form, but in about 1 to 2 reps from there is when you would reach complete failure. So stopping short of it just like that will help you to still get the results that you want, still get the same adaptation that you would see from going to failure, but without all of the overtraining and things that can lead to problems down the line, injury and more. So yeah,
Okay, good to know.
you're
Y'all
actually
stop
doing
it.
exactly what you should be, basically.
Yes. So go hard, feel it, but don't
Mhm.
kill yourself every time. Y'all, let's get the likes up. I'm in the kind of second half of the journey here with Miss Roxy Beckles, asking her about her thoughts about this concept, high value women. What does that look like? What are your tenets? And I love that you spoke about when you train people, you train them with four main areas. Can you just repeat the areas that you focus
Yeah.
on when you're with your clients?
Yeah, so my philosophy is rooted in what I've coined the 4 pillars of fitness. So that's your physical fitness,
Mm-hmm.
your mental fitness, your emotional fitness, and your spiritual fitness, and how all of those working together, you trying to improve yourself in all of those 4 things have the biggest impact on your life. Because again, these bodies are fleeting. We are dying every single day, whether you're healthy or not. Every day we step closer to our final day,
Yep.
and the body is decaying, right? So the key is not only to just focus and obsess on the outside, because the beauty, the youthfulness, that's going to fade eventually, but it's also about you building those deeper intrinsic parts of yourself along the way and using fitness. So many people come into fitness, and there's nothing wrong with, like, wanting to lose weight, wanting to be more attractive and that stuff. That's fantastic. But once you go ahead and you open that door, you have to walk through and allow it to bring you to higher levels of self. And that's where the mental, the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual journey
Mm.
comes from. Letting the physical open the door. That's the first pillar. But there's 3 more that you want to focus on to really just truly impact your life.
So let's talk about that. Your um, That's really deep because I'm trying to think how one coaches someone in those areas. Are you a
Mhm.
person that gives people, affirmation cards, motivational videos? Do you pray? I don't know. We could talk about both you and for when you are coaching. Do you advocate meditation? How do you get that spiritual alignment? I guess you could start personally,
Yeah.
looking at yourself and trying to stay grounded and balanced with your spiritual health. What does that look like for you?
Well, you know what? I can actually bring this into a twofold answer, because that's the thing when it comes to coaching, right? It's that the term is so overused today. Most people aren't really coaching; they're just throwing out information and not even like truly getting into the root of what people need to do for long lasting change. And I think for me, that's where the passion is. The passion is in the compassion, in the empathy, and knowing how to like reach someone and really like pull them up into being their best. And you got to get inside their head. So yes, my coaching is true coaching. It's like, yeah, we do the nutrition and the training program. That's just the easy stuff. I have this thing called the burger and fries analogy, right? It's like you go to get a burger, right? You go to get a burger, and the biggest thing on the menu is the burger. They have like thousands of burgers, all kinds of flavors and burgers and stuff like that. And then you have the fries and the drink, right? Well, when I look at fitness to me, the training program and the nutrition, that's the side order. That's the fries and the drink. The burger is the stuff that changes you. So yeah, we get the fries and the drink. Boom, here's your program. We're going to start on that now. I need to get in your head. 8 weeks from today, what is it that you are going to achieve? Let's write that down and let's get the game plan to make that happen for you. And let's keep asking those questions every 8 weeks to make sure we're moving along towards your goals. Let's look at what's holding you back right now. What limiting beliefs are you dealing with that we need to get the heck out of the way so you can be successful in your goals? What are the areas in your life do you feel you're failing at right now? What can you do to overcome those things? So I have a lot of guided meditations that I've created. I have a lot of journal prompts that I created for clients to go through. I've seen so many things at this point that I'm always writing and creating new content, things that you guys think you see stuff on the front end, the back end is just insane, with the resources that we have. So administering that, if I have a client who's dealing with emotional overeating, I have a course for that. We have that. We can go ahead and make sure what you're taken care of, so I mix all of that into my coaching and affirmations and personal one-on-one calls. My clients, I know every single one of them. It's not like you come on and I don't know who you are. No, I know you. I know who you are. I know what you need. We talk about it. So having that connection is also very important. So it's true coaching. It's not cheap. It costs money, but you get what you pay for all the time. Now, how did I get to that? I cannot, as a person with conscience, I cannot tell you to tell you to walk this way when I'm not walking the walk. I can't tell you to live this way when I'm not doing it myself. I can't tell you that I understand your problems and not reveal that I've been through this something similar as well. So I'm very transparent, and I do a lot of personal development. I do a lot of reflection. I make mistakes. I fall down, and I tell my clients when I do. I tell my audience, whether you're a client or not, when I do, and what lessons I've learned from it. So everything that I do is reflective of that. Prayer is so deep to me. My spiritual life, it rules everything I do. I'm not just someone who sits around that talks about God and scripture. I actually do put scripture into some of the affirmations that I create for clients. And I do it in a way that's not preachy. Like, I'm not trying to get you to convert to Catholicism or Christianity, but if there's something in the Bible that can speak to you, let's take it out. You don't have to call it the universe, call it the energy of the Gaia. I don't care what the hell you call it, but if
The
it's
rocks, the
something that
stone, the
speaks
moon, the
to you,
stream,
right? Like
the
with law of
candle, the
attraction, I don't care. Okay, law
bird,
of attraction, I don't care.
whatever
Pray,
you got.
right? Ask and thou shalt receive. Knock and the door shall answer. seek and ye shall find. I
Yeah.
mean, whatever you want to call it, okay, it's in the Bible anyway. That's I just rattle
Most
off
of them
scriptures
are.
here,
Most of
you
these
know?
things originate there, but nevertheless, go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So we can strip it down to a point where you can understand it and still let it touch your heart. Listen, I'll tell you what. During the I had a major epiphany. The pandemic really knocked me. Not in a way that my business was already online. I was telling people to get online. My business has been online since 2010. Okay. I've been doing the online thing since then. And I told everybody in the industry, this is the way of the future. Did anybody listen to me? No. Boom, we get a pandemic. Everybody else is
Everybody's
knocking off their
online.
feet.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I got my stuff. But at the same time, I got pulled into the whole, like, black side of YouTube and the whole podge that went into that, and
Mhm.
I dipped my toe in because I was like, okay, well, let me come on over here. This looks fun. What's going on over here?
Yeah.
But at the same time, what it started to do was limit what I was talking about at the same time. And I was also experimenting, right? And I lost my way. I really did. I lost my way. I lost my motivation. I lost my passion because now I'm not even doing the things that I should do because I'm trying to now feed the algorithm and the audience. I'm trying to
Mm.
give them what they want, but this is not really where I am, right? And so it started to play with me mentally. I had to take a step back and actually pray on it. Like, look, God, I just need you to use me. What do you want? What do you want? Because I'm dying now and I am not happy. I am depressed. I'm freaking anxiety up the wazoo, and this ain't gonna work for me. So what do you want? I'm lead me. That's it, right? That's that submission thing you all talk about. You can't talk about submission if you ain't submitting to that upstairs. You
There you
can't.
go.
It ain't gonna work. Okay. And for women, that connection, oh my gosh, it changed my life. Lord, I am the handmaid of the Lord. Do with me as you will. That's what I said. I prayed on that, right? Boom. Everything when I started to just go back into saying, you know what, I'm not hiding my faith. You don't like that I'm Catholic? You don't like that's my Brooklyn. You don't like that I'm Catholic? You don't like
Big.
that I'm Christian? You better go on somewhere else because that's what we're talking about today.
That's who I
Okay.
am. I
That's
hear
who I
you.
am. I'm not hiding it. This is it. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't repel people. It brings people closer because it's like, well, you know what? I didn't think about that. And that makes sense with my fitness journey. I may be, I got people who are, Muslim and they're loving my stuff. Like, assalamu alaikum, my sister.
Yeah.
I'm like, alaikum salam, my brother, my sister. Come on, let's go. I'm here for it. So when I talk about faith, it's deeper for me. I live this, you guys. And here's the other thing. Let me go back to the femininity thing. When I stepped away from the femininity content, particularly on YouTube, like I said, it was very superficial, right? And what I started to say is like, none of this really equates to what makes you a woman. These are just externals. But everything that I needed to know, I ever learned about being a woman is actually, it's in the scripture. So let me go back to that. Let me study Ruth. Let me go ahead and study Esther. Let me read Song of Solomon or Song of Songs. Let me go ahead and read what is the Proverbs 31 woman. Let me go ahead and look at what God says for my life as a woman to understand what submission is to him before I could even give it to a husband. How about we talk about that? And when I went into that deeper study, my whole life changed. And it's not that I didn't understand it before because I did. I grew up Catholic. I grew up, this is my faith. I grew up reading the Bible, but I didn't, the grasp that you have as an adult, when you make the choice and make this your life, it's different. It's a different walk. And I encourage you to do it, whether it's the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, whatever it is, go into it, find what works for you and explore that part of yourself. It's so powerful, and especially for women today.
Man, I was back here like, let me put myself on camera because I'm like, bridge. I'm back here like, sis, that's a word. Find thyself, know thyself.
That's right.
Understand your relationship to the Most High first. We're
That's
looking
right.
for it in other people, and we're gonna get lost if we keep doing that. Everybody has a right. Everybody
Yes.
has a open door to understanding yourself through that spiritual lens, but we run from it. We don't think it's important until it slaps us in the face, and there's
Yeah.
nothing left but that. And you look around and you're like, oh yeah, this is the core. Help us all to understand that spirit man, that spirit woman needs to be fed, needs to be nurtured, needs to kind of be put first so that all the other things kind of line up. But most people, not most, a good deal of people I've met, I guess, have neglected that side, and I think they
Mhm.
wonder. Some of them wonder why they're misaligned. Some think they're doing just fine. Some are much more, que sera sera. And again,
Mhm.
my judgment don't matter. I'm not judging anybody's road. I'm just trying to figure out what works, and I'm just echoing your sentiment that understanding yourself and allowing yourself to we'll just say just tarry is the religious way of saying it, but just spend time in seeking through that spiritual lens will help a lot and create
Yeah.
balance, create self understanding, create supernatural understanding. I don't know if you want to add anything, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
real.
I mean, listen, look at all the conversations that are happening online today, particularly as it relates to dating relationships. We're so ingrained in this hookup culture.
Yep.
Again, you have women who are completely apoplectic about, Roe versus Wade, because they can't use it as emergency contraception. How about we talk about that? As a woman, we're put on this earth to nurture life, and you want to rip life from your body and just do it because it's not even, I'm not talking about incest. I'm not talking about,
Yeah, the
rape.
exceptions. The
There
great.
are exceptions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The miscarriages, the ectopic pregnancies, that's a whole different thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the other 96% of women who feel that, like, literally, I live in Los Angeles, California. Roe has been codified here, and they're putting laws in the book to make it even, further than it was even on the federal level, right? And I'm watching these interview of these young 18-year-old women that they were interviewing at these protests, who are completely in meltdown state because they can't. Oh my God, you're getting my rights. You're taking away my rights. My grandmother and my mother have more rights than I do. I'm like, really, girl? Like, oh my God, you're taking away Roe. Now I can't even go out and like live my life and have my fun. It's like, oh, so you plan on just getting pregnant and just aborting a kid? Like, seriously, I don't mean to get into this, but really,
No, no.
it doesn't make sense, right? So we live in this culture that glorifies things that are not even to our nature as women, right? And you wonder why you're depressed. You're wondering why men treat us like we are nothing, because the price that you put on your sexuality and your sensuality and access to that is a dime a dozen. You can go swipe around right now and find someone to sleep with, you know? So this stuff, it's just like you start to learn your true value. And here's the thing, guys and girls, and anyone who's watching this: if you choose this way of living, no, you will ostracize yourself from society. No, you will cut yourself off from a lot of people that you might have access to now, who are willing to have sex with you, for the women, for the men who are willing to go ahead and use your money for you having sex with them, but you
Mm.
can't find those connections. And now we have people sitting on the internet talking about the same damn thing over and over. Hookup culture is here, and women and doing this and men. You're never going to get anything you want, because we just go ahead and repeat the cycles because we're barren inside with our souls. So know that it will isolate you. It will shrink your pool down. But when you actually probably do find someone that you are compatible with, it'll probably be a lot more fulfilling for you. I'm just
Woo.
saying.
Sis, glad you are here. Thank you for sharing your heart in that matter. I know everyone has a different opinion on that, but it's
Oh,
great
they're
that.
gonna hate it. Oh,
No, I listen.
but that's okay. That is supposed to happen, actually.
Yeah,
So, look, you
yeah,
can hate it if you want, but if I don't want you and you don't want me, who cares what each other says? You know what I'm
right.
saying?
No, it's totally
Nobody cares.
understandable. No, we had a good discussion of all sides recently on my channel. So trust me, we had very various opinions represented. But I think I think to gain wisdom, we have to be open, and we definitely have to be flexible. That's what I kept saying. I'm
Mhm.
like, I know how I feel, but let me listen to another woman and how she feels, where her reasoning originates, and what she thinks of as the barriers, the outcomes, the this what should I say, or the non-alignment in terms of what you say you want, and then now what you're going to get because of whatever your behavior will, what it will result in. So I'm listening, and in my heart of hearts, I hear what you're saying. I absolutely hear what you're saying loud and clear.
Yeah, what I'm saying is not very popular, particularly around among Black women. Let's just be honest. I
Yeah.
mean, I am like this weirdo, like anomaly that someone told me the other day. They tried to insult me and call me like you're just like you're trying to be the fake Candace Owens, and I'm like, is
No,
that
no, I don't
supposed to
get
like
that.
wait time
No.
out? I'm like, is that supposed to like offend me? Because actually, I really like Candace Owens. So anyway, so thank you.
You know where you stand, sis. And the chat is saying the same thing. DL says, this is the speaking the truth. Salute to you, love. Absolutely. And
Thank you.
again, wherever you stand on that issue, I think, like I said, it's very important that people are allowed to open up, open the conversation, openly share where they stand and why. Canardak says, and that's what makes you so dope, Suzette. You're open. Thanks for being, oh, you're very kind.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, I see that faith is central to you. And I think that is a part of being high value. I don't care. There are, again, people who will watch this and be like, I'm atheist, I'm not this, I'm not that. Respect to you too. But I just know from my journey, spirituality and religion helped shape me and gave me the foundation of
Yeah.
who I've become as a woman. So that is a source of strength. That is a source of just grounding. And as you've described in your walk, just daily, inspiration and daily, you know, um, refocus. And I don't mean to put words in your mouth, you tell me, but just allowing you constant, like if someone wakes up every morning and walks and prays, that just tells you how important that is, like breakfast, that is like your next meal, that is a part of your spiritual food as much as
Mhm.
your physical food. So that's super important,
You
guys. And
have to have it. Yeah, you
yeah,
have to have it because it's just like it's like anything. Like faith can wane. Think about how many
just like the muscles.
people.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, and think about how many people, I mean, you might have grown up with in the church or whatever, and just because you have, it doesn't mean that your walk and your understanding of faith is sound at all, because there's a lot of abuse going on in religious circles. There's a lot of, like, and when I say abuse, it's like the abuse of the Bible, of scripture, in order to shame you, in order to make you feel like you are the most worst person in the world. And you have complexes now about Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatever it is. So now you're running in the opposite direction because you were taught improperly. It's a lot of people walking around like that, right? So as an adult, if you decide to walk in faith, you have to, first of all, for some people, start at ground zero and go backwards. Learn. I for me, and a lot of this has to do with my schooling anyway, like going back to learning about the history of Christianity. Like, how the hell did we get here? Who was Jesus? What impact did he really, who was he really as a man? Because he wasn't this, cool, kind, loving, benevolent guy. They did not crucify the man and put him on a cross, stripped him naked, beat him nearly to death, and spear him to make sure that he died because he was such a nice guy.
Because he was
Okay.
passive. Yep.
Right.
Mm-mm.
This was not a
Mm-mm.
passive man. I
Not at
mean,
all.
my Jesus was a little crazy. That's how I like. He was crazy and he's funny. I love him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he also had that compassion. He was fully human and fully God,
He
if
was
that's what you
fully a
believe.
man, though.
Right, right, right. One of the things that it's John
And
chapter
thank you, Doug, on the
15.
super chat. No comment, just love. Thank you, Doug. Go ahead, Roxy.
John chapter 15. I was talking about this in one of the affirmations I was doing for my clients. It's the scripture about the true vine being the vine, like, and what Jesus says in it. And this is one line that I just interpret. This is the way I interpreted it, where he talks about God is the vine keeper, he is the vine, and we are the branches that grow. If you live in him, he will live in you and you will be fruitful, right? But there's a part where he explains that God is removing the parts of him that are not fruitful, right? And there's two ways that you can look at it. A lot of people use that scripture as a means of shaming Christians who are not a part of living the Christian life, right? But there's another way I look at it. The way I look at it, when he says that God removes the branches in me that are not fruitful,
Mm.
I cannot, with the life of me, ignore the fact that he could also be talking about how he is a man and he understands his nature as God, but he had to do work himself. There are 20 years of Christ's life, 18 years of Christ's life that we have no account of, right? From 12 to 32, he pops up again. Last time we saw him, his parents done lost him in the temple. Next thing you see, he's at a wedding turning water into wine, which is my favorite party trick, by the way. But like, it's like 20 years went by. He went from a boy to a man. What happened to him? He had to change. He had to grow. He had to mature, right? And it's like, when I read stuff like that, anybody can learn from it. Anybody. What parts of you need to be pruned, need to be taken away so that way you can be fruitful in your life? You don't have to be a Christian to understand that, right? And it takes walking and learning and looking at scripture and looking at faith from from the mature adult, fully formed eyes, going back and rereading things and re-understanding. It's a daily thing. If you don't train, you don't work out, you don't gain muscle. If you eat like a slob every single day, you're gonna gain weight, right? If you live on the tenets of the world that tells you that lust and money and power is the most important thing, you're gonna become gluttonous and you're gonna get fat, spiritually fat, right? But if you go ahead on that diet of constantly renewing your spirituality every single day, you're gonna be lean, you're gonna be fast, you're gonna be strong, you're gonna be connected, right? So that's why it is important to do it every single day. And to something, even if it's a 5-minute little prayer, it's something that keeps that exercise, that spiritual exercise going.
I love it. RM say pruning with the scissors. Hello. Right. It's real. And I think like it's such a process in terms of both physical and spiritual. It's a beautiful metaphor that you're sharing in terms of like your journey is like, both. Because I think sometimes people get overly caught up in one, uberly spiritual, but neglect the emotional, neglect the physical. And then I see it on, the opposite way where we're focused on the externalities as we talked about, and we're neglecting our mind, our emotions, and our spirit. So it's beautiful that you can use the metaphor of maintaining physical health to also apply to our spiritual walk, our spiritual health, as it's just that important. And if that's not you yet, that's something both of us want to encourage you to kind of explore more. It is the foundation to me of who we are. We are but dust. We are but dust that will be returning to dust one day, but that spirit continuously lives in my belief. So it is
right. In Hebrew, it's Adam into Adama you shall return. Adama means dirt, right? Adam is man from dirt, right? Adama, Adam, into Adama you shall return. So it's like so much like, oh man, I'm telling y'all,
girl. We got time to go. We got about 5 minutes.
We got 5 minutes.
I love it. I want to keep you all on time. We have a couple of questions. Last call for the I think they're enthralled. They're listening.
This happens on my lives too. People don't be coming up and like,
no, I usually get at least 2, but it's all good. I can't get it every time. I've had an open mic where I was like, okay, people come up. Nobody. Okay, fine. So when we talk about your training, I'd see the spiritual training is just important for you as physical training. Are you training just women? Do you train men also?
Yeah, well, I have worked with men my entire, fitness career and stuff. My demographic at one point was like 96% women on all my social media, on my YouTube channels and stuff like that. So I started to cater to women specifically because that's who was watching me, that was here, But now my numbers have really like evened out a lot more, and I have a lot more men in my audience. So I try to move certain conversations more generally, so that way guys don't feel like I'm just like talking to women.
Me too.
Because a lot of the stuff that I do share is great for both genders. And I do work with men specifically, like in my coaching practice as well. Some of the things like, I feel like my guys' needs are a little different than women, the ones who do come to me. So I usually tailor things to whatever their specific needs are, and what they're struggling with. So a lot of times for guys, it's not so much like they don't it's not the emotion. Guys aren't emotional normally. You know, they're more like, just give me a diet, Roxy. Okay, give me my workouts. All right, I'm good. I'm good. I'm like, good. All right, cool. You good? You good? You know. So it's a little. I approach my work with men a little bit differently than
I
my women,
love it, and I
more
do want to
so.
read this. Sorry to interrupt, but yes, she does
Yeah.
approach men. I feel the same way. I always thought myself as a kind of woman to woman, and I
Mhm.
realized for me, the personal development side speaks to both men and women. So
Mhm.
they want growth too. They want to understand themselves too. They want to understand why pain, why am I stuck? Why am I, where am I going wrong mentally? And I love that. So I've opened up my mindset. I was just looking to see what my breakdown was in my audience as you were talking to see
Yeah.
what percentage. I am 82% male, 17.5
Wow.
women. Isn't that crazy?
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I mean, it
started
makes
channel
sense
thinking I was
though.
going to do women's empowerment.
Well, a lot of the topics that you talk, that's the interesting thing about the YouTube algorithm, right? Is because your topics and what you cover fall into the stream that pulls in a lot of the Black manosphere, right?
Yes,
And channels
yes.
like that. So if you go to look at your analytics and you even see the videos that people are watching, you see the channels that they're watching as well, you'll start to see and understand why your audience is a
Yeah,
certain way,
it's so
right?
male, and that's nothing wrong
Right.
with that.
There's nothing wrong
I
with that
was
at all.
shocked though. Me coming
Yeah.
on YouTube, that was not my intent, and now I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa. But I want to read this. And thank you for the super chat. I see another super chat. Kanardak says, Roxy, I'm not Christian, but this was the message I needed to hear. In this exact moment. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Very deep. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. And who is that super from? Thank you, Kimo says. Okay. Now he gonna tell us what high value woman. Okay, let's get it. Okay. High value woman should be. And he's a regular here, my Patreon member. He's not afraid to speak his mind. He
I
won't come
love
up
it.
on a link.
I believe in First Amendment. Go ahead. Go
He
for it.
listen, he won't come up on a link for nothing, but he gonna tell you how you feel, how he feels in the chat. He says should be fit, feminine, yes, self-respecting, mature, passionate, caring, classy, agreeable, associates with quality people, and most importantly, is submissive to her father and her man.
Absolutely. I would
Ukimo.
agree. I would agree. That's it.
I'm not disagreeing with. Let me read it again. Make sure I have everything. Hold on. No, just saying. High value women should be fit. Working on it.
Uh-huh.
Feminine, yes. Self-respecting for sure. Mature, hey. Passionate for sure. Caring. Classy, I think so. Agreeable, yeah, I think so. Associates with quality people, and most importantly, is submissive to her father and her man. Okay, Kimo, set it straight. Are you in disagreement with anything here,
No,
Roxy?
I agree with that. I agree with that. And there is one caveat I will say to it, and it becomes
Okay.
again to this topic of submission, right? There are very specific parameters around submission. Now, of course, you are submitted to your father or the person. If you don't have your father, like if you were raised by your grandfather or whatever,
Father
whoever
figure.
is the
Yep.
man in your life who has raised you in that father role, yes, absolutely. Some women don't have the luxury of that, unfortunately, right? And then of course you're submissive to your husband. But what people fail to understand is like the word submission gets thrown around too much, right? A woman should not be submitted to a man who's not submitted unto God first and foremost.
Well,
You know? We
that
don't want to talk about that
that
part
part.
though,
That
because
part.
that requires responsibility
Mm.
for both the man and the
Accountability.
woman, right?
Mm. Yep.
And even further, a woman is submitted unto God. Because he who finds a wife finds a good thing, not he who finds a girlfriend or a hookup on Thursday night or the next Tinder date. He who finds a wife. But how
Mm.
do you know you found a wife when she doesn't even know what a wife is? And what a wife is rooted in what the scripture already lays out for you, period. You have to be in preparation for that way before, right?
Actually,
And
you
it's
doing
not
work.
your father does it, your mother does it. If you don't have that luxury, you got to figure it out on your own, sister girl,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
submission gets thrown around too flippantly. You know what I mean? So I agree with all those things. But we have to have that caution. There is a cost with submission, and it's not
Mm.
just a monetary cost; it's a spiritual cost. So
Mm. Mm.
understand that, and you got it.
I
Absolutely.
love it. And I agree with that 100%. I'm not saying, because you hear this, if he's worthy of being submitted to, no. But you
Yeah, if
definitely
you
need to
wait,
be
listen
submitted
here,
to the right
listen.
person is the basic core.
Sir, when are we getting married? You want to
No,
be
we just hanging
exclusive
out. We
with
just hanging
me?
out, Roxy.
You want to be
In a
exclusive, but what
10
does
year
that
10-year
mean?
engagement. No.
Right. No, 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 no,
Child,
no, sir. Okay, I'll submit
child, and they want you to
when
submit,
we
but
get
hey,
married.
I know I hear you loud and clear. DL says, I'm not religious, but I'm for anything that helps people live a righteous and fulfilling life. We've had those conversations, DL, for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody
You
says,
don't
I
have to be
love the
either.
universe. The
Yeah.
universe loves me by showing
Yeah.
me what I can do for myself. I hear you. I hear that
Mhm.
philosophy. Um, yes, want to get that forgiveness body. Says RM. Transparency, yes. Thank you, the favorite network. Good to see you. Awesome. Yes. They talking about chemo boom mic drop. Yes. Oh, I know. This is me. Doug says yes. When I first started watching Suzette, she kept directing her message to women, but we broke her off of that. I was
Well,
like, because
80%, 80%, yeah, is like,
listen,
all
and it
right, stop
fluctuates.
it.
That's a snapshot, y'all. Sometimes I've seen
Mhm.
it as low as like 70 or in the 60s. But
No, but
that thing,
listen, and it's not that's not a bad thing. The thing
no,
is
I
that
embrace
men
it.
in
I
today's
embrace it.
time, especially, are going to be as they should be. Men
Yeah,
are going to be more attracted towards a woman who comports herself in the way that a woman
yeah,
should,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so it's exciting when they see someone, even with my own channel, it's like it's
yeah,
exciting when they see someone who has a specific point of view that is largely countercultural. Like what we're
yeah,
talking about is very countercultural,
yes,
right?
yes,
So when they see that, it's natural for them to be, curious and gravitate towards it, which is why I don't specifically touch on certain topics anymore, simply because although it was fun, it doesn't feed my bottom line,
yeah,
and I have a business to run, so I have to consider that. But this kind of stuff, like, I have a second channel actually, guys, that I created. I haven't put any videos up on it yet. It's called That Black Catholic Chick. Okay, all one word.
mm,
That Black Catholic chick. Okay, and that's going to be where I'm going to talk about more of this, spiritual, like deeper concepts, and my own personal walk. That'll be a lot on that channel, because I want to really make sure that on the fitness end with my original channel, that I'm going to have people that don't care about me talking about Jesus and the Bible and women femininity. It's like, okay, good, we'll touch on it a little bit here, but that other stuff comes to that Black Catholic chick,
no, you
so
can
we're going to be
fully
popping that
express
off.
you. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Y'all, we have gotten so much out of this talk. Doug says, I never understood all the hype around submission. I think it's just the word. I thought it was natural, he says, in general. Okay, Doug, women normally display submissiveness in my presence.
Yeah, but look at the culture that we came out of, right? For every time someone wants to say separation of church and state, in pretty much all of society and culture, there was, yeah, patriarchy was there, but a lot of it in our culture, in American culture, it's America has always been a Christian nation, right?
Mm,
And you got
mm,
all these people submitting to God under the armor of Christ. And yeah, it was natural because it was expected. All
yeah.
right. It was expected.
Mm.
So
No, it's still.
that's
I think there's still that core to the country. Honestly, I
there is
think.
still that core. It's holding on by a thread that a lot of our social systems globally, and the rise of feminism and all these other things are tearing away at it. It's designed to. It's
Mm.
designed to,
That's a deep
and
conversation,
so,
sis. I want to do a show called like The Lies Feminism Told Me. I mean, there
girl, you
was so many
see.
great things that I feel, okay, God, that must have been your will. But then I think there's so many things as you're describing that have kind of been like the pendulum has swung too far. So
Yeah.
we have, I don't even know if it's like overcorrection, but I gotta explain that, guys. If you think you know what I mean, you probably don't, but I understand what you're saying completely and have my own thoughts on that because as I've just come into this space and kind of understanding more and more about how the relations between men and women in the heteronormative sense have kind of just, it's like two different playing fields, two whole different arenas, two different like worlds almost. it is just the teachings, the disparate teachings, I think, is where we are, losing one another. And I think, like you said before, it was simple. Everybody had more or less, let's say pre 1970s, the same kind of Judeo Christian solid understanding of how life worked. And then we moved into a whole nother system. But we'll leave it there. That's so much more. I'll read a few more comments, y'all. Y'all show some love for Miss Roxy Beckles. Sunbree says, "Have you seen a fit, focused, feminine, fierce woman on your arm like candy?" Okay, facts. Says Quincy. Thank you so much. I have appreciated every moment right now. I'm getting fed too. I always say that I created shows that I want to listen to. I've created just conversations that hopefully will help me help you. And I'm always kind of like selfish in it because I'm like, this has helped me want to be better and kind of again self-analyze, self-awareness, y'all, is a core to understanding of where I am in my own journey just by listening to you. So yeah, traditional woman, is that high value versus modern woman?
Yeah. Wow, that's an interesting question. I mean, it, it goes back to, again, equating it to what the man that wants, that is seeking, what does he want, right? Because you
Mm,
you have to go back to the pockets. If he's someone, when I say pockets, I mean like the two separate categories. It's like if it's someone who values a woman who is in the workforce doing this, doing that, believes, doesn't really believe in gender roles, then all that, he's going to see that kind of woman as being valuable, and a woman who's more traditional as being not of value. He's not going to like that. As soon as
yeah.
she starts talking about gender dynamics and you need to be a provider, he's out the door. And that's fine. Go find yourself the modern woman that you're suited for, right?
Yeah,
But for a man who has traditional values, who believes in that kind of stuff, the woman who is traditional will be the one that is valuable to him. He's
yeah,
not going to look at the other woman, you know?
yeah.
So it really comes down to what you want at the end of the day. To me, a woman who lives in a traditional valued mindset, of course, to me is more valuable. But
Mm,
that's the way that I see the world. Do I think that women who are modern are not valuable? Listen, I can't sit here and deny that feminism, that I haven't benefited from it. Okay.
right.
I live in Los Angeles in my own place. I have no roommates. I've never had a roommate. I've been running my own business for 12 years now, right? I wouldn't be here without the first and second wave of feminism. Are you kidding me? Right? But do I marry myself to the entire tenets of the feminist movement? Heck no, absolutely not, because I don't value that. And to me, that does not make me a valuable woman to do that. And the kind of man that I would want in my life wouldn't want that, you know? So,
Yeah, understood. Girl, we picking up stuff where we need to be putting it down and getting ready to go. But Miss Linda, thank
right.
you. Good to see you. Says I can handle the word supportive, not submissive. When your life is on the line, I need supportive people around me. I'm here in this moment in time because I refuse to give up or submit to people. Now,
But
people
you're not being
versus,
asked to be submit to
yeah,
people. You're being,
actual. I,
right.
I hear where you're going. Not submit to anybody and everybody. We're
People,
talking about
right.
only that significant other that God gave you. But your point, Miss Linda, is well taken. Understanding.
Mhm.
Good evening to you, ma'am. All
Yeah,
right.
let's not even get into it because I'll go on another tangent. We've
No,
been here for
Roxy got to
another
go,
hour.
y'all. It's been a beautiful evening, and I
Sorry.
think my speakers, my tribe, like to wax philosophical. Oh Lord, Miss Linda on the super chat. Thank you, Miss
That's
Linda.
awesome.
God bless
That's
you.
awesome, Linda. That's
Always
really
throwing
great.
love, Miss Linda. Thank you.
Mhm.
Says love the insight. I'm still learning. The acceptance of my well-being has taken a lifetime. Amen. I
You
will
got it,
continue.
girl. You got it. Listen,
On
growth
that
is going to
note,
be until the day you die. So keep growing, keep reaching, because transformation is happens until the day you die, and even death is a transformation. So
amen. Well, on that note, Miss Linda, that's a perfect way to end the stream. Once again, it has been my utmost pleasure to have the one and only Miss Roxy Beckles here. If you haven't already, go over on her channel, subscribe, watch, get motivation, get, tips, self love and physical fitness transformation tips. I can't wait to watch your journey, my dear, as you get back
yes,
into that tip top shape. Okay, that might we might not all be able to get there, but one day I can watch you and get that motivation. Hit the like button on your way out, guys. It's been real. We love you and thank you so much for watching again. Miss Linda, thank you for being the sponsor of tonight's stream. Shout out to RM is like dosing the chat with all of your social media handles,
Thank you,
freebie.
Ram.
She gives away stuff, guys. Follow her on Insta too. See her pictures, Twitter, everywhere, but her YouTube channel first and foremost, for real, for real. RM, you know you my rock star. Appreciate you, Roxy. Thank you so much. Any
Thank you,
final words
guys.
before you
Thank
go?
you.
Peace and blessings.
Yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate y'all, and I hope to see you guys over on my end too. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right, have a great night, everyone. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.